episode of Northwest Brewmeisters. I'm Jamie.
Steve.
All right, and today we're going to brew beer because that's what we do. It's been 2 weeks because we do this every other 2 weeks. So today we're going to make this American Life IPA. This is from one of our local brew houses, Whidbey Island. Is it Whidbey Island or Whidbey Brew? He doesn't have his business name on the recipe. Anyways, Wicked Two-Tom Brewing Company. He's owned by our friend Terry, and his store is Whidbey Brew Supply right here in town. And so yeah, we went down there today instead of going to our friends down in Northwest Brew Supply.
Northwest Brewers.
Northwest Brewers.
Yeah.
Okay. I should probably endeavor to remember people's business names if I'm gonna. Right. Most professional broadcast this side of the Columbia. In any case, we wanted to do an IPA because our last IPA was not.
It didn't come out very good.
Yes.
It was drinkable, but it just didn't have the right characteristics of an IPA.
I thought it tasted good.
We discussed it.
We did at length.
So anyway, here we are again to make a new IPA.
New IPA. So we got things set up. We thought we'd try something new, which is to lay out all our stuff right here. And as soon as I get done reading through the recipe, which is what we always do, we're going to take those two things, the liquid malts, and put them inside where it's warm. Because again, we're in a garage and it's cold. But we're tough. We're tougher than most. So let's go. So this American Life IPA. Specialty grains. Not a lot of specialty grains. It's only 1 pound of Crystal 15 L. And just a light colored, not a lot. So that'll be interesting. Fermentables. Now with the fermentables, we got a lot. 6.6 pounds of Pilsner liquid malt extract right there. 1 pound Pilsner dry malt extract. What is that? That's that one. I'll let you show me the label.
These guys here.
All right. 1 pound corn sugar. Why does it say 15 minutes? We should probably read this recipe before we go. And then 4 ounces of corn sugar for bottling, but we don't bottle, we keg, so we're not worried about that. The hops, we got 1 ounce Columbus hops, which we throw in right at the beginning.
Well, we'll save you guys the pain of this. All the hops are vacuum sealed in these bags, so you're not going to see what the hop pellets look like, but they all look the same.
They all look like
if you've seen rabbit food, you've seen a hop pellet, little green pellet. So, but this particular beer has 4 different kinds of hops in it. So, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, that's the worthy flock. All right, so 1 ounce Columbus, 1 ounce Chinook, 1 ounce. We went with the Simcoe because he was out of the Zythos, and 1 ounce Falconer's Flight 7 Seas hops. Right at the end. So actually, this is going to be a really hoppy beer. Although I wonder if it'll be as hoppy as that one we dry hopped. That only had 3 hops in it. They had the bittering hops at the beginning, and then some flavoring hops at about 10 minutes, and then you dry hopped it like 5 days. You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Steve has a better memory than me. I'm going to go with Steve. All right, so our yeast is going to be, what is that? Fermentus Cephale US 05. Apparent attenuation, 81%. If you don't know anything about attenuation, attenuation is basically how much.
Take care of stuff.
All right. It's basically how much of the sugars the yeast actually eats. And so the more of the sugars the yeast eats, the more well attenuated your beer is. And so that's that's attenuation when you're talking about beer. Of course, when you're talking about hearing, attenuation is how much the sound is reduced. So this is 81% attenuation, flocculation is medium, and the optimum temperature for brewing this particular beer is 59 to 71.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Minimum equipment required, homebrew starter kit. So basically all the stuff we have. You got a boiling kettle, and we've got a big glass carboy, 6-gallon carboy, and got our spoons and our funnels and all of our sanitation equipment. And so today, today we haven't really decided whether we are going to start with the water warm or whether, hey, do you have an Amen flame?
No.
That's okay. I got my lighter. We're good. We haven't decided whether we're going to start warm or we're going to start cold.
Let's do it Warm.
Okay, so we're gonna get the water going. Let's light this first. That'll be easier. Because we can also do this. Wait, give me a second.
It's good broth.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yep.
Come on.
There we go. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why I have no hair on this hand. Yep, that's that's kind of nice. No, keep doing that. Yes. It is cold in this garage.
All right.
Put that on there. So we start with 3 gallons of water. Which actually, I'm just gonna hold this spoon.
This water is just store-bought spring water, where you can take your own bottles and they fill it for you. Nothing special about the water. No special profile. We're not trying to match any part of the world.
Maybe one day we should try that.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're doing our own recipes or we're trying to do some very specific clones, it might be a good idea to really focus on the water. But just for the fun extract brewing we do, I don't think it matters, man, personally.
Well, I think before we start messing with water profiles, we should do simple things like figure out what happens when you use different yeast.
Yeah, right.
I don't even know that right now. I know that if you use, did you say we're starting cold or warm?
Warm.
Okay, so we're gonna heat the water up first.
Yeah, we'll do a.
Whew.
Yeah, I think we made it down a little bit.
Yeah, you probably have a lot of wasted heat rolling around the outside of that pot.
There we go. A little more control. All right, well, we get a starting temp.
Okay.
All right now.
You're gonna have to do all the looking today because I forgot my glasses. Now, because I'm old. I never thought I was old, but now I feel old. I feel old. Of course, you're wearing glasses, and I know you're not old, so therefore I can't be old.
You're not old.
I'm not old?
So we're at 68
Sweet.
degrees at the moment. Clear the spot. Let's stay there. Get some towels.
Now I'll just sit here. So, right now, the beer we're drinking, and I'm almost out of, is called Breakside. That's the brewery. And it's called, shoot, man, I'm acting like I have Alzheimer's here. It's an IPA. It's kind of a citrusy IPA. What's it called? Breakside is the brewery. What's the name of it? Oh, Wanderlust. Wanderlust. Breakside Brewery, and it's Wanderlust is the IPA. 6.7% ABV. I don't know what the BTUs are, or not the BTUs, the IBUs are on it, but it's kind of malty. It's got decent hops, not too spicy, not too much in your face. Like I said, a little citrusy, pretty good.
Does it look like a film on the water?
Yeah, it does kind of, doesn't it?
I hope this is air.
Yeah, it's just, it'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be okay. See what happens when we do this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just air.
It's just from, I think it's from the way you poured it in, it kind of got.
I was concerned that maybe there was soap in there.
No,
You know what I mean?
doesn't look like soap. It'd kind of suck if it was, because I don't know. Taste it. I think that's soap, dude.
You really do?
Yeah, I kind of think it's soap.
Well, that's pissing me off.
Just don't get mad.
Well, I'm not mad, but I know I said it was pissing me off, but it's like, it's annoying because
It is annoying. All right, so
I'm gonna have to mix the hell out of it, man.
I don't know. Maybe it isn't soap. It seems to be. No, that's not soap. That's going away.
It looked like soap.
It did kind of look like soap, but I think we're okay. I think it was just from pouring it in there hot or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because the metal was already getting warm.
Dude, we are awesome brewers. I mean, I'm sure no professional brewers ever have these kind of adventures.
We're at about 90 degrees.
All right.
And climbing.
And climbing. How's your beer? Wow.
It's pretty good.
Calling Nurse Steve. I didn't say that.
Yeah, I think we're fine.
I did too.
I think
we'll be all right. All right. Collect and heat 2.5 gallons of water. Okay. Or 3. Woo. 3 is fine.
That is right up on the sides, man.
For mail order grains. Okay. Bring to a boil, then remove kettle from burner and stir in the pale LME. So you know what?
What's that?
It says steep for 30 minutes at 155 degrees Fahrenheit. Remove bag and discard. So the way I'm reading this, I mean, he's not very specific. It was that guy Mark that we got the cold steeping thing from. And no lie, Mark, what does Mark do? He makes mead now, right?
I guess so, yeah.
He's up here in the Pacific Northwest, and he's starting a mead company. Well, he's got the mead company going, but he's kind of trying to make mead this cool thing. And he's having a hard time because he's finding that the mead, people who are open to mead are like kind of high society type people. And it frustrates him because mead was supposed to be a Viking drink. Kill manly men, hair all over them, and bad hygiene and things. Well, I mean, we're going stereotypical here. Anyways, so, which is, well, I wouldn't say Mark had bad hygiene. I mean, he seemed clean enough. But anyways, the point being that he's running into some frustrations because he's having to hobnob with a class of people that he just doesn't share anything in common with. Poor guy. It happens. Anyways, that's Mark. And Mark was an intense brewer. When we met Mark, and we actually haven't seen much. It's not like we're good buddies. We just remember his name. But we were at a brew day at our local, the same place we got this, Whitby Homebrew Supply. And he brings his 2 kids in, and he's all excited, and he's explaining to them the science of steeping and how you have to bring it up to a certain temperature and hold it there for a few minutes, and that lets this sugar out. And then you go further, and he's talking to his kids, and his kids are just like, oh,
they could care less.
Why did you bring me here, Dad? I mean, it was before tablets and phones, so they both had books, and they were just trying to read their books.
A child reading the book, really?
Well, yeah, the girl was reading The Joy of Embroidery. I mean, I just think she just grabbed anything. They were not thrilled to be there. All right, so anyways, standard recipe, really. So we go ahead and do this for 155 degrees for half an hour, during which time we'll try and talk about something interesting. And then after that, we remove that. Bring it to a boil. You know, he says bring to a boil, then remove the kettle from the burner and stir in the LME.
That's what we do.
Do we bring it to a boil first, or do we stir in the fermentables first with the other recipes?
We stir in the fermentables first, and then we bring it to a boil.
I wonder if that makes a difference.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it. It seems like it's backwards. But then again, maybe it's just his way of doing it, you know?
Yeah, that's something we should look up on the interwebs. And we do have the power of the interwebs, and yet we still often just look at each other and wonder instead of looking things up.
Right.
So in any case, so we bring it up to a boil, add in the pale LME, return it to the burner, begin boil. It's now called wort, brewer's term for unfermented beer. And then there's the cycle of the hops. So add the Columbus hops, boil for 60. Add the Chinook hops at the 30-minute mark. At 15 minutes, remove from heat. Add the dry malt extract and the corn sugar. Return to heat. Add the Zythos or Simcoe. We got the Simcoe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, just as we turn the heat off, add the Falconer's Flight hops. So this is a little more complex. And yeah, you know what? I think, according to this recipe, we bring it to a boil first, which is not the same as the recipes from Northwest Brewers. They all just said add the fermentables and then bring it to a boil. That's interesting.
Let's try this.
All right, so we're going to do it exactly according to the recipe. Let's see what else we got here.
Bring it to a boil first. Huh?
Yeah, and then it says, after that, it's very similar. Fill primary fermenter with 2 gallons of cold water. Pour in the cooled wort. Leave any thick sludge in the bottom of the kettle. Add more cold water as needed to bring it up to 5 gallons. Shake it, seal it, put on the water lock,
The usual.
and let the yeast do its thing. All right. So, yeah, that seems pretty easy. So, this week we were talking about something. We're talking about one of our brews that we figured didn't turn out quite the way that we wanted it to. Which one was it?
It was the IPA.
It was the IPA?
Yeah.
He likes to harp on this IPA. I think our IPA was wonderful. All right. In any case, although it was not nearly this color, it was very dark.
Apparently, that's not too uncommon. Apparently, that's not as uncommon. I mean, I guess it's not that uncommon for it to be dark like that, too.
It happens sometimes?
It happens, yeah. Well, it can be intentional. So maybe that beer was meant to be dark. Because same guy that talked to me about the rapid cooling, what we're going to talk about here soon, mentioned that, a darker ambery IPA is not uncommon. So
okay,
doesn't mean it was bad or whatever.
Well, like you said, it was drinkable. Did you not like it? Did you really think it wasn't? See, I thought it was good. Like,
I didn't like it.
Okay,
so you were taste like it should have tasted to me.
If I handed it to you at
I
a
would
party
drink
and it
it,
was
but-
free, you would drink it.
I would drink it, but I wouldn't buy it.
You wouldn't buy it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that crushes my hopes of becoming a great commercial brewer right there. I suppose I can get better.
Those bubbles are still.
We're okay, dude. We're okay. Trust me, we're okay. We'll be good.
I just don't remember that being like the bubbles being that fine before. It makes me think there was something in there still,
Maybe. You want to dump it and run get some water, and I will
We don't
sit
have time
here.
for that.
You're right. We don't.
We don't have time for that. So we'll just go with it. I'm probably just overthinking it.
You do that. You do that.
Because I just get really concerned about stuff that's out of the typical. Makes me think something's wrong,
Well, yeah, and like we say, it's not science, but it is. So, makes sense to me. In any case, carrying on. Want to look up some of the effects of not chilling the beer quickly enough?
Yeah, so I talked to a fellow homebrewer who has a lot more experience than me, and I explained what happened, or what that beer was like. And he said one of his questions to me was, did we rapidly chill it after we were done with our boil, which we had not. We just kind of let it chill slowly. And he said that might have been the reason it came out very different, because even though we weren't on the flame anymore, the chemical process was still happening because of the hot wort. It's kind of the same idea when you take cookies out of the oven, they can continue to bake even though they're out of the fire. Same thing was happening with the beer, and so that's why it's important that you rapidly chill the beer as soon as you can, so that it stops, so that the actual, not the fermentation, but the actual process stops. That from the grains and the hops. Because if you don't, it can actually affect the color and the flavor of the beer, which sounds a lot like what happened in the IPA. Now we could have done something else and then realize it, which gave it that effect. But the way he was describing things to me, based off how I described things to him, that almost sounds like our culprit was we didn't chill it rapidly enough. and it essentially over brewed. Just it kept going and introduced too many flavors, and that's why it got darker than a typical IPA.
So this is from E.C. Krauss since 1966. Wow.
So we were going to talk a little bit today about why it's important that you rapidly chill your wort, and we found some examples here and some reasons.
This article is from October of 2019. It says, after boiling your home brew beer for an hour, you may think that you're done. Not quite. There are still a couple more steps that can go a long way towards improving the quality of your home brew. One of these is chilling the wort after the boil, and there are several benefits for doing it quickly. Here's some information on why you should chill your wort quickly and how to chill your wort quickly. Now, there are 3 main reasons why we chill the wort in the first place. So this is just why we chill it at all. Number 1, if you put your yeast in hot wort, you will kill your yeast, and that won't work. The ideal pitching temperature for your beer yeast will vary depending on the style of beer you're brewing and the yeast strain itself, but in most cases, it's in the ballpark of 70 degrees. And 2 weeks ago during the broadcast, what we talked about was what can happen if you pitch your yeast too warm. And there were those fancy terms, which we should look up again. But acetylosis was one, and big, long scientific terms. But basically, well, they were big, long scientific terms. I will look them up again, maybe later in the broadcast when I run out of things to say. But the big thing is that you can either kill your yeast, which of course is no good, or because of the way, basically what happens is the cell walls in the yeast break and they release these off flavors. And some people describe it as green apple, some people describe it as pumpkin. Me, myself, I haven't eaten very many raw pumpkins, so I don't know what pumpkin tastes like, but I know what a green apple tastes like. And they say it's not the same for everyone, but basically, if you pitch your yeast when your wort is too warm, it will change the flavor of your beer, and usually not in a good way. And more importantly, not in a controlled way. That's a big thing. You can have any flavored beer you want. You want bacon flavored beer, go for it. But it's only good if you can control it and make bacon flavored beer more than once. If you just got lucky or unlucky and your beer happens to taste like bacon, well then you didn't do a good thing. So that's number 1. So reach the yeast pitching temperature. Number 2, I didn't know this. This is interesting. To coagulate protein. This is an important reason as to why you should chill your wort. To produce a quick, sharp, cold break. Chilling the wort quickly will help the protein in the wort clump together and settle out.
We're at steeping temp.
Oh, sweet. Do it.
Yeah, keep going. I'm going to set the timer.
All right. Chilling the wort quickly will help the protein in the wort clump together and settle out. This reduces the amount of protein in the final product and helps to achieve a clearer, more clear, better looking brew. Is it more clear or clearer? I don't like saying clearer, so
I would say more clear.
More clear. More clear. Not bad, David, but we're going to tag you on the word clearer.
As long as you didn't put more in front of clear.
He did not say more clearer. He used only clearer. You might want to roll that a couple times.
Yeah. Man, I need to bring this up a little bit too. This is a long muslin sock, man.
Yeah, I know.
It's touching the.
We can pretty much hang it from the ceiling and still steep the beer.
Usually they're not this long.
Yeah, well, there was extra large and then there was nothing. That's what we had. Got it? Think that's good? All right, so anyhow, clumping the proteins together, and this allows us to have a more clear, better looking. Oh, TV warranty?
Breeze caught you, man.
I love this show. If I were watching this show, I would be rolling. I'd also be drinking lots of beer.
So we're going to make it through.
Yeah, that's the only way. All right, the faster the change in temperature, the better the cold break. The cold break can be aided by adding 1 tablespoon of Irish moss during the last 10-15 minutes of the boil. That's the whirly flock, and of course we didn't get that because that is not 100% necessary, although that's an interesting thought. All right, and finally, and this one is pretty, so this goes along with the reaching yeast pitching temperature to reduce the risk of contamination. The quicker you get your wort clear, cold, and your yeast in it and the water lock in place, the less time wild bacteria and wild yeast have to get into your wort and infect your beer. So we knew that. Says the more quickly we can get the wort from the kettle to the fermenter, the better, but don't let this make you panic. If you chill the wort quickly and do your best to reduce exposure to air, your beer will turn out fine. Thank you for the words of comfort, David Ackley. All right, so now that we've learned reasons why to chill a wort and why it helps to do it quickly, what's the best way to accomplish this? How do we chill a wort quickly? Homebrewers have a couple of options. The wort chiller, which we have, but we don't have adapters to hook it up to a sink or a hose, so we don't have a wort chiller. What we have is a fancy coil of copper.
Pretty much.
We're going to fix that. Next week, we're using a wort chiller. Oh, yeah. Well, next 2 weeks. All right.
Yeah, the attachment doesn't fit my sink, so we have to find a new attachment for it.
I thought I had it, but then I did not have it.
So
I felt clever for a few moments earlier today.
Well, I'll tell you right now, and this might be, if you're trying this yourself, pay attention to the threads, because part of that wort chiller has very coarse threads where there's a lot of space between the risers, and what needs a thread at the sink are fine threads, and so that's where my mismatch is. So I need to find some kind of adapter piece, or maybe find something I can use for the garden hose to run through that. So we'll figure that out. But that was our hurdle today. So we can't use the wort chiller, but we're gonna rapidly cool with an alternative method.
So in any case, we have a wort chiller, but we don't have a wort chiller. The other way is the way that we're going to do today, which won't be on the broadcast, because by the time we get to the chilling phase, this broadcast has been pretty long. All right, so, and that is the ice batch, which you just basically take your kettle and put it in a big ice bath, and then stir it. And yeah.
That'll get it down probably about 20, 30 minutes, depending.
Yeah, if we do it, if we're violent enough with the stirring, it seems to drop pretty quick. Tell you what doesn't work, we tried this, is just putting it in the snow.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work. It didn't work at all.
Yeah. Which might affect that beer that's sitting in the secondary now. So.
That's awesome. You've made me feel good with that statement.
No, I just mean in general. I'm not blaming you.
I know you're not blaming me. I'm not saying you're blaming me.
It's not like I wasn't like, yeah, let's do that.
I get it. All right. So, anyways, chilling the wort with an ice bath works best for home brewers boiling 3 gallons or less. Otherwise, it takes too long. And that's what we rebrew 5-gallon batches. So by the time we get to the chilling stage, we only have like 2 3/4 gallon of liquid, depending on how much. This one has 6.6 pounds of liquid,
right?
Malt extract. So we're probably going to increase our liquid volume quite a bit. So
now some of the beers we've done have had over 9 pounds, so 9.9 pounds to be exact.
So
and the dry malt that goes in there.
That is David Ackley. Let's check out this one. Greatfermentations.com. Oh, that's a horrible name. That is a horrible name. I mean, whoever owns Great Fermentations, I get it, but no, come on. No.
All right, we're still under 160, so we're good.
Okay. So one of the problems with this is sometimes you come across articles that are just not amazing. By the way, I haven't researched this previously. We are scrolling the interwebs with you, figuring out what to read. Chilling your wort is an important step in making beer, whether you realize it or not. Quickly getting your wort down to pitching temp and adding your yeast culture is indispensable in making the best beer possible. In the next few paragraphs, I'll explore the reasons why quick chilling is so important in making a great beer. Okay, so good writing so far. First thing I mentioned is students in my beginning brewing classes. Who is this? We should find out who this is. This is by I'm going to assume that this is by the owner of Great Fermentations, whoever that is. Okay. It doesn't have, well, it might, the name might be at the end. Way down. Let's see. Nope. Maybe it's Brian Johnson. Sounds like Brian Johnson. He's some guy named Brian Johnson is replying to the comments. So this is 2016, but the truth is that the importance of chilling your wort quickly hasn't changed that much. It's not like a new science came out. So anyways, danger zones. First thing I mentioned to students in my beginning brewing classes is the danger zone. Between about 160 to pitching temp, roughly 75 degrees Fahrenheit or less. The reason I call this the danger zone is because certain wild yeast and bacteria can survive and thrive at these temperatures. Okay, so that's the same reason that the other person had. We want it cold quickly so that we don't infect our beer. Other reason, important, reduce or eliminate certain compounds that contribute to off flavors. One of the most notable of these is DMS, or dimethyl sulfide, which presents as a creamed corn or cooked vegetable flavor or aroma. Did our IPA taste like cooked veggies?
I don't think so.
I didn't think it tasted like cooked veggies.
It made me think of Immortal IPA by Elysian, which actually has I think it's made with ginger or something, or jasmine.
Okay.
I can't quite remember. So it made me think of that beer, which I know we didn't use jasmine or ginger or whatever, but it just didn't taste like an IPA, man.
Okay. This IPA is going to bother me for years, I can tell.
It shouldn't bother you. Who cares? We
I care,
We'll
man.
move on, man.
All right.
We're making another one.
We're moving on. So anyways, dimethyl sulfide, which presents as a creamed corn or cooked vegetable flavor or aroma. DMS is actually produced from a precursor, SMM, which is S-methylmethionine, while the wort is hot. However, during the boil, it volatilizes rapidly, removing it from the beer. The longer you take to chill your wort, the more stays in solution, potentially causing some unwanted flavors and smells in your finished beer. Okay. This is much better than the whole we want to get it done quickly reasons. I mean, those are good reasons and all,
Right.
but this is actually kind of fun for me. I like doing this where we learn about things with all 0 of our viewers there. We're up to. In addition to these reasons, quick chilling can allow proteins and solids, shrub, to precipitate and drop out of solution. This is called the cold break, which is what the other article talked about. And in addition to giving you a clearer, there's that word again, more clear beer, maybe it is clearer, we might look that up. A good cold break can prevent chill haze in your beer and allow your beer to last longer without degradation. Lastly, quick chilling will allow aromatic qualities of the hops to be preserved and carry through to the finished beer, as aroma hops added near the end of the boil will not be volatilized. That's kind of a mouthful. I'm good with words too. That's a big word. Volatilized off when quickly chilled. And so that last little paragraph there, quickly chilling will allow the aromatic qualities of the hops to be preserved and carried through to the finished beer, as aroma hops added near the end of the boil will not be volatilized off. So basically kind of like the whole cooking onions thing.
Right.
Which goes back to your cookie sheet analogy. The same idea is like we're still cooking the hops if you don't get it.
Right, and maybe that's why the IPA didn't taste right, because we cooked off all the hops.
Yeah, because it sat too long and it was hot, and so.
And no, it wasn't your fault. It's like you keep trying to take responsibility.
I'm a sensitive guy. It's very sensitive. All right.
About 20 minutes left on this steep.
Okay.
You don't go in there.
For extract brewers, that's us, making partial batches, the cool water ice bath method works well. Cover your brew kettle with the lid to avoid outside contamination. Place it in a sink or bathtub and lots of ice. I generally recommend starting out by running cold water around the outside, swirling and changing the water occasionally. This will help to bring the temperature down before you add your ice so that your ice is more effective and you aren't spending as much money on ice as a chiller would cost. Oh, and you aren't spending as much money on ice as a chiller would cost.
Yeah, right.
All right. You can then top off the fermenter with water you had previously boiled and cooled to sanitize, or with bottled water, which is ozonated and generally sanitary right out of the sealed bottle. Exactly. To maximize chilling, cool the water in the fridge before adding. Remember not to shock your glass fermenters with hot wort. Instead, pour cool water in and then add the hot wort.
Which is what we do.
Right? Okay. For those doing full-size batches, which is great because it would be really messy if one of those carboys exploded. I don't know what that thing is. Oh, this is a wort plate chiller. So, we can show this to you. We can do it.
No, I'm trying to think what it is. It's submersible.
Trying to show it to them. Hopefully you see that. So that's a wort plate chiller that sits down in the bottom of the wort, and you can see the ports there. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I'll try and get closer and monitor what I'm showing you. So there's a plate chiller, which is not the same as the copper coil wort chiller, which is what we have. And that, yeah, so you attach a hose here and a hose there and a hose here and a hose there, and you run. Oh, wait, no. Oh, this is even cooler. Look at that. Wort in, wort out, water in, water out. So you run the water and the wort through that thing.
You have a pump or something for that.
Obviously.
That's something else you have to clean, though. I don't think I like that.
There's lots of cleaning
Honestly,
involved.
I don't think I like that.
Lots of cleaning involved in this.
You know, copper coil, you just clean that by itself, and then, you know, it's submergible. So, I don't know, man.
So basically, another method is sometimes place a sump pump style pump in a bucket or cooler of ice water and recirculate the ice water through the chiller and back into the bucket or cooler. This too allows temperatures to get lower than with standard tap water, and ice can be replenished as needed. And so that's kind of what our wort chiller has. It's a 2-coil piece. One piece goes into the wort, one piece goes in a bucket of ice, and then the water runs through the whole thing. It runs through the bucket of ice, and then it runs through the wort chiller, and then it runs back out. And so, yeah, there we go. But basically, that's the one thing we're thinking about this past 2 weeks. We're thinking about talking about this week is the whole concept of why is it important to chill your wort rapidly? All right, so excuse me just a minute, because as the most professional broadcast this side of the Columbia, occasionally things like phone calls happen and 3 text messages in a row. Yeah.
So this someone's trying to get a hold of you.
Yeah, this might be important. I'm gonna step off here.
All right, well, we're just under 16 minutes remaining on the steep. We've got a pretty steady temperature of about 155, just as the recipe calls. This is one of those things where you have to adjust your flame, because it's either going to cool off too much or it's going to get too hot. I have yet to find the perfect sweet spot for the fire, so and that's why you constantly see me monitoring the temperature. I don't know enough about the chemistry to know how much of an effect, you know, the temperature would have on this stage. Would it make it too light? Would it make it too dark? I really don't know yet. Because, you know, the steeping grains, you know, from what I recall, are like the main contributor to the color of your beer. So we are 155 on the dot. Let's see if that stays like that for the next 15 minutes. All right, I'm going to step off for a minute and replenish our beers. All right, what we're drinking next is called Hazy Trail, a juicy India Pale Ale from 10 Barrel Brewing Company. Here's the can, you can see that. Well, our monitor's not doing very well at the moment. 10 Barrel Brewing Company are out of Bend, Oregon. Currently, they've been around since 2006. We've had these quite a few times. I like to buy their variety pack. Yeah, it comes with just various, you know, styles of IPA. This is a hazy, so which means if you pour it in a glass, it's actually kind of cloudy, and it might, if I remember this one, this might even be slightly citrusy, hence the juicy part, you know, the juicy in the label there. And for Jamie when he gets back. It's almost like pouring grapefruit juice. So you can see that. There may not be enough light. You know, it's not clear like a typical beer. It's very cloudy and hazy, just as the label implies.
Dude, I gotta run home real quick. Come out of your truck.
Yeah. Where's it? Jeez. Here you go.
All right, I'll be right back. You just
All right.
keep trucking along.
Yeah, I'll already be in the boil by the time we get back more than likely, so.
I know.
Are we okay?
Oh.
All right, folks, well, let me put Jamie's beer back for now. Jimmy had to run home and take care of something. He should be back here round trip, we'll say probably about 30 to 40 minutes, depending on traffic. So you're gonna hang with me for a while. We're just gonna finish up our steep, which we have about 12 minutes remaining, and we'll move on to our boils. We'll get ready for that. Just gonna give you a moment here to catch up. All right, we're going to try it this way. We're going to bring it to a boil first, just as this one implies, and see how I don't know how it's going to change it, because usually we put our malt extract in and then bring it to a boil, but we have to return it to a boil. So it seems like we're bringing it to a boil twice. Maybe the initial boil, bringing it up to the boil, will help get things flowing. I really don't know. I don't know. Again, I don't know much of the chemistry yet. I'm still learning. All right. Well, in the meantime, I'll just keep monitoring the temperature. All right, well, Jamie appears to be back. Oh, it seems like we're a tad hot. Ah, kind of uneven heating. That's why you see me move this thing around to different parts of the pan, boiling pot, to see if the heat's just evenly distributed. It appears it is not. All right, folks. Yeah, Jamie's back. Apparently, whatever he needs to go home for fixed itself, so he is good. He is good to go. He will be joining us back on camera here in a moment. Yeah, man. So this side of the pot is much hotter than this side.
That is.
I just think that has to do with the flame, maybe, or maybe the pot's not quite centered. You know what I mean? It's possible it's too far towards me, but I mean it's not that big a deal. But you do want to try to get an even distribution of heat across your boiling kettle if you can help it. gas or propane in this case seems to be the best flame or best fuel. You can use an electric stove, but it takes it. In my experience with electric stoves, it just took it a lot longer to get to that boiling point than it does with gas or propane. Plus, you take a chance of whatever like greases and stuff might be stuck, up in that hood over an electric range in the house. You take a chance of loosening that up with the steam it can produce, and it can drip in your boiling kettle, which I know from experience because it happened to me, and it ruined the beer. It was awful. It was supposed to be a Hefeweizen, but it was as dark as a stout. How does that work? But yeah, it definitely grease and stuff dripped into that boiling, boil, and it just it totally ruined everything. So ever since then, I have never done a batch of beer on a standard stovetop inside the house. Ever since then, it's always been propane tank and a turkey fryer stand. Keep it simple. Plus, it's a little more fun to be outside when it's not too cold, or the garage in this case. Here in a couple of months, when it warms up, outdoor brewing will be like ideal because the sunlight will be daylight a lot longer. Temperature will be beautiful. Yeah, look forward to brewing out in the spring and the summer with y'all. All right, just a hair over 7 minutes remaining. You might need this. And just on I can't really show you, but just looking inside the boil, this looks like it has a nice golden color to it, which should be typical of an IPA, and a little bit of a dark gold. Yeah, our not the little miniature monitor, but the main view is totally frozen on the computer screen. Just so you know, it's been like that for a while.
Yeah.
Like it's got me looking down in the pot.
You've been looking in the pot.
I've been looking in that pot for like 20 minutes, man.
Well,
yeah, I was curious though, because maybe. Terry's instructions have us bringing it to a boil and then removing it to add the LME and then put it back on the fire and then bringing it back to the boil. Maybe that somehow at a chemical level, just get something going, man, chemically, and then when the LME hits it, dissolves better maybe. I'm not sure. Obviously the heat's going to help it dissolve faster. But I was just curious because, it's very different from our other instructions,
Well, yeah, I mean, and then the times when you add the sugars,
right?
That was the other thing. Not just the fact that you bring it to a boil, add the liquid malts, get it back, start your boil, and then you add your dry malts later in the process.
Right. That tells me that maybe that's just his style, and then the recipes that we get from Northwest Brewers, that's their style. It tells me there's not really there is some standardization, obviously, because the times are pretty much identical, 30-minute steep, 60-minute boil. With some of the little intermediate stuff are different, but that tells me that there's no definitive standardization on it then, because I bet we could look at someone else's recipes or even some of the guides and things in the books I have in the magazines. I bet they all say I even have different instructions, similar but different enough that you can identify a change in the process,
Yeah, no, I agree with you. You're right.
So in that case, maybe it's time to dust off some of those old back issues and find some recipes in there that we like and see what their process is and compare it to the ones we already know.
Not a bad idea.
Because I have tons of beer recipes. I noticed over the years I have those beer magazines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just some of them are clones of common beers. Like I've seen clones for like Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, and, you know, clones for Sam Adams, which I know their typical beer is not pale ale, or not an ale, but it's like a lager that tastes like an ale in my experience with Sam Adams. But anyway, I've seen a lot of clones, and I've seen a lot of just recipes that people have submitted that got published in these magazines, and I think that's pretty cool. And I would like to maybe dig through some of those and find something that we like, or we both like, and then go and see if we can put it together. As long as Terry has the grains, or her friends in Burlington have the grains, you know.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, and if you gotta order something, I'd rather order it through. You know, I've gotten into supporting local.
Right.
That's been my latest thing, right? Totally off topic of beer, but hey, you know, whatever.
We can still support local, state local.
Yeah, state local. Well, as opposed to Amazon. Right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna order through Amazon.
I mean, although Amazon's weird because you're supporting local, just not your local. Well, like my audio interface, you know, I ordered it through one of the big box store online guys, right? And of course it took forever, and I feel like they lost my order, and then I was getting the runaround, so I canceled it, and then I did end up going to Amazon, and I ordered it out of a place in California, but it's not a big chain. I mean, it's just a small local music shop that also has an online
and you
store.
got it like
Amazon.
2 days.
Yeah, I was so frustrated.
The big name you ordered it from, what was it, like
4.5 months?
Never received this device.
Oh, I was so angry. But now I got it, and it works just fine, and it's so exciting. And I'm going to use it on my other channel, which is Jamie Aston, which is my music channel. And we're going to start
shameless plug.
Shameless plug. I'm all about shameless plugs. Come on, man, it's okay. Both channels are mine. Well, this one is ours, but that one's mine, and I'm part of that one, and this part it's very interconnected. Kind of like incest, but not.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm a sailor. I'm allowed to go places.
I'm not an Amazon hater. I've ordered plenty of stuff from Amazon. But if we're going to order grains or specialty grains that we can't get from our local guys, I think we should definitely order directly from the Brew supply store, maybe in another county or another city, before we go to a national, you know. Which, he's got a point. I mean, it may be Amazon, and it's going to connect us to a local supplier more than likely, but Amazon's going to take a cut, and I'd rather have the local provider get the full amount of money that we're going to pay for those grains if we have to order them. And I know it's not difficult, because when I'm a former sailor myself, and when I was stationed in Japan, my friend Greg, who got me into brewing, you know, he lived in base housing over there, and he would order all his grains on the internet, and everything gets shipped out to Japan. He'd just keep it in the freezer until he was ready to brew, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd order, X amount of pounds, of whatever he needed.
Sorry, I'm screwing around on my phone, but we really can't monitor anything on HAPS right now, so.
No, that's fine.
I gotta change something really quick. Where's the auto lock?
So back to what my original thought was, I'm certainly not opposed to ordering a grain if we're really bent on a certain kind of beer that must have this grain. We'll order it then. Preferably, we'll start local, and then we'll just branch out to where we got to go. You know. Hopefully, we can keep it in state, but if not, whatever. Is what it is.
Yeah, you do what you got to do. There. Now that won't turn off.
All right, we have 20 seconds.
We're up to 7 viewers. I think 5 of them were me. Logging in and logging out.
All right. Well, hello, us.
Nice to see us.
All right, well, here we go. Turn this off. I'm just going to leave the heat going. Drain sec. We have the old trusty bowl. I'm going to bring it up so we can start working it. Get it back close to boiling temperature. Do his instructions say don't squeeze?
His instructions are not. Where'd they go? They're not explicit on the don't squeeze thing like Trevor and Ben's are.
Right.
But
I think it's the same idea of where they say you shouldn't squeeze a tea bag if you're making tea because it releases too much of something into it. I think that might be the same case with this, you know.
Well, it's very similar. You're making grain tea instead of tea, right? You know.
It's not a leaf, it's a grain.
I've never squeezed my coffee grounds after I make coffee.
Good point. Neither have I.
So there you go. I think that's good. Into the bowl.
All right, let's untie the muslin sock. I'll go get a ladle too.
Yeah. Hey, I got this idea. How about this time, when we do that, we don't burn me? It'd be awesome.
You want to be little guy?
No,
that way I don't
no,
burn you.
No, I want to see if you can do it without burning me. That's it.
I agree. That would be best.
So let's do it as per Terry. So the next step would be getting it up to a full boil, and which way is up? That way.
To the left.
That's probably good right there. I mean, I think if you get it any hotter, you're just
We're just gonna be
wasting gas.
We got to be able to grab these things.
Yeah, that'd be nice to be able to grab those.
Earlier they were really hot. Like
yeah,
probably would have had to have had mitts because a lot of the flame shoot at the side. That means we're wasting the heat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what.
So I think that's good, man.
All right, it's right there.
Stay. Okay.
Stay. Good. All right.
All right. Let me reset the timer for 60 minutes. Get us ready for the next stage after we get to a boil.
After we get to a boil.
Let me go check on our LME. I've had it next to the heater so it softens up.
I'm really gonna laugh if it melted.
Oh, it sucks.
We're gonna fool around with this since nobody's actually watching. So on Twitter, you gotta do it that way. Let's log in on YouTube. So many devices, so much monitoring. And interesting how you can do all that. And we're going to look ourselves up. And there we are. I want to turn the volume down first. I don't need to listen to us because I can already hear us. Oops. Wrong one. Wrong. How do I back up? That one. There we go. Now I'm looking at myself. Sweet. Hello. From yourself. Send. And it should pop up on the screen, right? Sure enough. Okay, so we know that everything's working. So, good to go. So professional. You'd think I didn't know what the heck I'm doing. But I do. Just haven't quite figured out the HAPS interface yet. So, I guess we'll talk about buying local. So, I mean, especially after the whole pandemic thing and you watched all the big guys, they just sailed right through it because they have millions of dollars in reserves. And even if they don't, they have huge credit lines, you know, and they're almost in the too big to fail category, which I don't believe in, by the way. And so they're just going to weather this storm. But the little guys, you know, especially restaurants and folks that were just shut down completely by their state governors, I mean, those people, they're just hurting, and a lot of them are never coming back. And so this idea about buying local is something that's worthwhile to me. But sometimes it gets frustrating because you can't. So I went to our local music shop because I wanted a specific set of speakers. I wanted a pair of Yamaha HS8 studio monitor speakers, right? They're pretty good. And I went into my local shop and I said, hey, I don't think you have this on the shelf, but can you order it for me? And I told him what I wanted. And I wanted very specific speakers, just for price point and everything else. And the poor kid's like, not only do I not have it, but I can't even get it. I actually asked him if he could order it, and then I left, and then I came back and I said, what'd you find out? And he says, I can't order from Yamaha because as a retailer, in order for me to order from Yamaha, what I have to do is carry a certain dollar amount of product in my store at all times. And it was just a dollar amount that he would never move. I mean, it was something like $10,000. We live in a small town in northwestern Washington, and it's just like this stuff is never going to go anywhere. There's not enough of a market to move that much product, so he couldn't do it. So off I went to Amazon, and I don't know, I think those speakers actually ended up coming out of Guitar Center somewhere. But yeah, it's just, it can be really hard to buy local. And so I thought next time, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to walk in there and I'm going to say, yeah, I want you to get this for me. And they're like, well, you know, you could get it on Amazon. I'm like, you know, I could, but I want you to buy it on Amazon at whatever the crazy discount is at Amazon is. And then go ahead and mark it up and I'll pay that little bit extra because I'm going to support you. And I'll be happy about that. Kind of how I feel about it. I mean, I'm not rich by any means. I mean, for crying out loud, I'm brewing beer in a garage. If I were rich, I would have my own brew studio, and this would be all amazing. We'd have great lights, and I wouldn't have to run into town to give my wife the keys to the other car because the first car didn't work. So, yeah, I mean, obviously not rich, but still, I make enough, and I don't make huge purchases that often, you know. I got what I need. I got a camera here. I got my laptop off to the side here for connecting with you all out there in Haps land, or YouTube land, or Facebook land, or Twitch land, wherever, or Twitter land, whatever land you're living in and you're watching this from, hopefully on the replay at this point. So yeah, when I do make a larger purchase, I don't think it's a big deal that I go ahead and spend a little extra money. And you know, the retailers, the thing is like, these retailer folks, Amazon is selling things at a reduced rate, an incredibly reduced rate. That's how they're beating all the brick and mortar guys. And it's like, well, so if I buy it on Amazon, then I pay a lot less money. And if I buy it at brick and mortar through their regular supply chain, then I'm going to pay more money. You know, let's say I go buy this thing. I go in and I want a cello stand, for example. I go into the store and I say, hey, I need a stand for my cello because I figured out that if I keep all of my instruments in their cases, when I go to practice, it takes a long time to open everything up and pull it out. But if I have it out on a stand, I'll just pick up my instrument, tune it really quick, and bam, I'm practicing. So I wanted a cello stand. So I go in there, and the guy says, the cello stand's $150. I'm like, wow, I can get it on Amazon for $60. It's like, okay, well, wait a minute. So if I want to support a local business, let's say he can't get the cello stand I want. And he's like, I'm like, well, your cello stand is $160. This one's $60. Tell you what, you order it off Amazon and I will pay you for the effort of getting it here. And then I'll give you $150 for it, which is not financially wise at all. But the whole concept of supporting your local community, it makes good sense to me. And obviously, you can't do it all the time. I mean, there's just certain situations, like with my speakers. They couldn't even order them. They couldn't get them. It just wouldn't happen. And sometimes online competition is just too fierce. It's just, they're not going to be able to make it happen at all, which is unfortunate, but that's the way it is. And we are getting up towards the boil here. We are just waiting on Steve to get back so that we can get to the next step. Dead air. So if you're watching this on Twitter, if you're watching this replay on Twitter or any of the other things and you have a witty comment, feel free. We'll try and get back around to it. We'll monitor the Twitter account, the Facebook account, and we'll check in on things. And if you made a comment on these videos, then we'll probably reply, because that seems like the polite thing to do. Wow, look at all that stuff you got. You got all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, I took care of the remainder of the sanitization when I was in there too.
Ah, that's what took you so long.
Yeah, I was just getting that stuff out of the sink, out of the bleach water, and we're not quite.
We're getting there. We're getting there. It's moving.
Well, I don't want to leave this out here because it's gonna get cold.
Okay, go back inside. All right, I'll just be.
Well, no,
alone.
I'm just gonna go put this back down. I'll be back.
I know. I know.
I'm not gonna stay in there this time.
Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. And I'm alone again. So alone in the world. Wow, the light is starting to fade. The light's starting to fade, man.
I know.
Yeah,
Well, one thing I would say is for certain, nobody can accuse us of being scripted.
yeah, we are definitely not scripted.
This is not scripted.
Yeah, we in fact, maybe we could use with at least an outline or something, maybe a big whiteboard. It's like at an hour and 10 minutes, talk about this.
Yeah, we could do that. We could figure out like a little production schedule.
Well, we could do something like, I don't know.
With basic overheads, nothing crazy, I would say.
Maybe look up the articles that we're going to read before we actually read them, because then instead of reading 6 articles that all say the same thing, we could find articles that have slightly different things. It's fine, dude. It's okay.
Look at the color, man. Look at that.
Oh, it looks
Look
good.
at that, dude. That's like golden. Perfect golden.
I thought you were worrying about soap again.
Well, it does look like soap. But
It's not soap. Those are proteins mixing with the surface tension to form that foaminess. Yes. Proteins of the beer. I'm telling you.
I know.
You overthink things. Do we need hot mitts?
Maybe.
Dude, if we get hot mitts, we need to get manly hot mitts, okay? Nothing from
What? Not the Christmas hot mitts? Yeah.
No Christmas hot mitts. Nothing your wife has. None of that stuff. Manly hot Harley Davidson hot mitts. Or like Colt 45 hot mitts. Like just a couple pistols on our hands. Yeah.
Yeah. Colt 45 hot mitts.
We're not insecure. Is it?
Smells good. What's up?
I don't know. I just think it'd be cool if there was like some girl brewers who would like chime in, but people have to watch before that happens.
I know, right? I don't know. That'd be cool. Yeah,
It would be cool.
Colt 45
Hot mitts.
hot mitts would be funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
With some
anything.
beers or something.
Just no Hello Kitty, no flowers, nothing pink,
No Christmas.
no Christmas. Maybe Thanksgiving themed.
Maybe.
Although actually, if you want to stay with the style of this show, they should be mismatched
I know, right?
and half burnt. I got some. I definitely burned up a pair of my wife's hot mitts.
What'd she think of that?
Let's just say that sleeping on the couch is fun. It's like camping with an angry bear in the room next door.
Oh, dude.
That's not original. I stole that from Facebook, but it's still
It's
funny.
still funny. It applies. Oh, I think we're on the verge, man. All right. Watching wort boil is almost like watching paint dry.
Oh, it's a little more exciting.
Waiting
than
for it
that.
to boil, at least.
Waiting for it to boil. I think the best part is where we don't control it and then we throw the hops in and it goes everywhere.
Yeah.
We should try to avoid that.
It's like a little
today.
explosion. It's kind of funny, but messy, and just makes for a frustrating brewing experience.
Yeah, and then there's caramelized proteins and sugars all over the pot.
It just burns on there and it makes it hard to clean.
It takes it half an hour to clean it, like half a can of Copper Glow.
I know, right? This boiling kettle's been going for over 10 years.
Really?
I don't know what the life on the boiling kettle is, but
It's a piece of steel, dude.
Yeah.
I think the life is forever.
I would hope so. This just came from I think I bought this at Fred Meyer, of all places.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't remember what the actual volume is, but it definitely holds at least 3 gallons because that's what's in there. I want to say this is like a 4-gallon type.
Yeah, you could put another gallon
I
in
think
there,
it's
but
like
you'd
four-
be
four-
right at the top,
yeah.
dude.
I think it said it was like a 4-gallon max type one call it. Yeah, we're like right there on the verge. We're getting a little like, air pocket to come up. You know what I mean? Yeah. See.
So you told them what we're drinking,
Yeah.
and I saw the boxes. But what is it again?
That's the
Hazy Trail.
The Hazy Trail. We've had that before. Remember when I'd buy those 10 barrel brewing multi packs?
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah, that was one of the beers that was in there.
This one's good too. I like hazies.
Yeah. So
We should probably start exploring some things like some ambers or things like that.
Yeah, we could. It's a rolling boil, so I'm okay with pulling if you are. If you're ready to pull. That's boiling.
Yeah. You want to pull it off the fire, or do you just want to turn the fire off? And then we'll just relight
Let's pull it off the fire or lower the fire down to like that, so we have like a pilot flame. And then, all right, I think you have the.
Okay. You're still on ladle duty. I'm going to steal your chair. We're going to move over here. Stepping over the open flame.
All right.
All right. Ah, this is the part I hate. Always getting sticky. Ooh, these are nice and warm. They should pour nicely.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to prep this one so it's ready to go.
All right.
Oh, with it being warm, it comes apart better too.
Oh, does it?
At least this one did.
Oh, it does. No, you're absolutely right. That's.
Okay.
We need to warm these up.
From now on, we shall warm the LME.
Yes, like legitimately warm to the touch warm, not just like.
Right. Sweet. Yeah, maybe done.
Trying to get all the. All right, there you go. And I'm sticky. It's a curse, man.
Don't worry, I'll get some hot liquid on you.
Yeah. No better way to get unsticky than have your buddy dump hot beer wort all over your hand. All right, start.
Whirly full. See what we're doing this, right? And we'll get funny.
The curse of glasses. Of course. The other curse is when you don't have your glasses and you can't read anything.
Right? Damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Which is going to be rough in a minute here because we've got to start reading the recipe.
That's right. That should help.
All right, scoop that off there. Ladle.
Real ladle this time.
Don't burn me.
Hold still. We used to use the spoon. That was really slow.
Yeah, and you burned me. All we're really doing is filling up the little jugs with hot wort, so we dissolve all of the LME out of there.
All right, that should be good.
And trying not.
Or maybe not.
No, that'll be okay. It'll be good. Shake it up a little, let it sit while it dissolves everything. Alright, next one! Oh, sticky.
Juicy.
Alright, go, stir. Whoa! Geez. That's liquid.
Good.
This one must have been a little bit closer to the little heater that you left them next to.
Yeah, definitely was. Good though.
All right, go ahead, scoop that off there. Fortunately, it tastes good.
That's a good thing. It's sweet. We used to use a rubber spatula,
That ought to be good.
but we decided to do this because it seemed to get pretty much all of it out.
Yes, and the rubber spatula was guaranteed stickiness.
Yeah.
Sticky hands, sticky pants, sticky sweatshirt, sticky everything.
Sticky.
Just sticky. I'm already sticky. I'm going to step off camera here again and wash my hands. I do not like being sticky. Whoa. That was a little exciting.
What's that?
Oh, it just hissed and yelled at me.
Oh.
That'll be fine. There we go.
Good.
Yep.
Good. Is that both of them?
Good. What's that?
Is that both of them?
No, that's just the one. You can probably we can put this back on the flame now. Go ahead, and I'll move over into this chair and whoop, falling down. We'll just have a seat, a quick seat.
You can just fall into your chair. Try to get you even down there. Good enough. Good enough. Government what?
And then we'll throw this one back in there.
Fire going again.
Give it another shake. I do have to go wash my hands. Yeah. I'm sticky. Whoa!
Oh, too. You gotta need that bucket also.
Bucket.
The bucket I was using to clean everything.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Go to wash my hands. Be right back.
All right. So now we got to get the wort back to a boil, which hopefully, since we had it boiling before we added the LME, it's still really hot, so it should get you back to the boil a lot sooner than what it had been for us in the past. Sorry, talking to my belly there. Get our hot packs lined up as well. Where is the? There we are. All right. So our first one will be the Columbus hops. So I'm going to set these up in nice, easy order. Columbus, Chinook, Chinook, then it's going to want the DME and corn sugar. All right, these are in the way. Where is the DME and the corn sugar?
Hmm?
Oh, over there.
Oh. That's not until 15 minutes to the end, though, right?
Right. But I'm setting up the table with everything in the order we need it to be in.
Gotcha.
Just to keep it easy. To avoid confusions. Recycle bin.
Heyo! Who's this heyo? Who's saying heyo to us? Oh, it's our #1 and only fan. Hi, Riley.
Let's
How
be
are
Riley.
ya? How you doing, sweetie?
Next is the Simcoe. And then last will be that one. All right, good. All right. Hi, kid. There's that. Let me get rid of this stuff.
Thank you.
Remember, I'm a clean as you go guy, so. And I need to wash my hands.
Yeah, I hear that, man. So here we go. Working up on a boil. And then once, oh man. Oh, this is bad. I really should not have forgotten my glasses. This is going to be rough. I'll hold it way out there and get the light on it. Or more particularly, we'll get Steve to read everything. So, what was I talking about? Oh, what's that?
We drank earlier.
Oh, that's right, the bottom. That was good stuff.
Put the timer right here in the middle. Skizzers.
Skizzers? Skizzers are good. or some sharp knife. You need to read. I can't see anything, man. I forgot my glasses. Can't see nothing. I do remember we're doing the Columbus hops first, though.
Right. Everything is in order. Doop, 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 doop.
And you're sticky again.
I was going to hold that against my chest, but.
No, you don't want to do that. There's.
And that can, please. If it's empty.
Sure.
Ah.
Got it?
Got it.
We recycle. Yep. Environmentally conscious. We also brew our own beer, which prevents people from having to use preservatives, which we're quite certain are poisonous and are damaging society at large. Preservatives, right? Damaging to society.
Oh, yeah.
You agree with me?
Agreed.
Yes. Absolutely.
Agreed.
Agreed.
All right.
You ever watch The Critical Drinker?
No.
Oh, man.
Funny stuff?
He's a movie reviewer, and I think he's Scottish. He's got an accent.
Probably Scottish.
Yeah.
Sorry if you're watching this. If you're from Scotland, we're probably ruining your accent. You know.
Don't ever apologize to me. Look, we're going to steal your culture, but just be complimented because it just means we admire you so much. That's the way I go with it. Right. You know?
Exactly.
I mean, I wish people would try and act like Americans, but nobody does.
That doesn't sound right at all, man.
Well, it's true, man. Nobody says, oh, that romantic American accent, I love it. Nobody ever says that.
We don't have romantic accents.
I think we have an excellent accent. I don't know what you're talking about.
American.
I have friends from England, and they all try and do American accents, and they all end up sounding
I
like...
guess we don't hear it because we're Americans.
Right. They all end up sounding like they're from California. Like,
dude.
like Gag Me with the Spoon, Valley Girl, California.
Like,
Remember
oh my
the
God.
80s stuff? Yeah, like, oh, that's it.
Like, totally.
Like, totally. And they all over accent the R's. It's funny. It's like, I'm eating dinner. It's like, come on.
What's
We
funny
don't
is
say
you got that West Coast California accent, and you have New England. You know, where everybody talks
Park
about
the car in the garage.
Go park the car, down by the harbor.
Boston.
And then you got Maine, and Maine has its own version of a New England accent.
Nobody tries to. It's like, yeah.
then
Maine
you
is hard. Yeah.
Maine's a little
What's
harder.
with the yeah? Do they actually
What's going
say
on,
yeah?
No, it's I spent 3 years in
I was
Maine.
gonna say you lived in Maine.
I'm trying to
man.
remember how it's been so long, man. Yeah, something like that. I forget how it is.
I don't get it.
It's kind of like in Canada they say hey, what's going on, or whatever. In Maine they have like their own kind of version of that, but it's yeah,
Oh, okay.
Went out to the pasture today, something kind of like that.
Oh, okay. I'm kind of hearing it there.
It's been a long time.
And then there's New York.
And you got New York, yeah.
Yeah, which different parts of New York are different.
Everybody sounds like a tough guy. You do. I'm sorry. If you're from New York, you sound like a tough guy all the
Or
time.
you're like you're trying to be a tough guy.
Yeah, that's right.
Unless you're from Long Island.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Long Island doesn't sound like they're trying to be tough guys. We're from Long Island. I mean, we got cows here. It's like you got cows.
I'm sure there's a lot of tough people from New York, too.
What?
So I'm sure there's a lot of tough people from New York.
Marshmallows, every
There.
single one.
But-
You from New York? Go ahead, prove me wrong. New York, yeah. Whoa.
Oh.
You shut up. You New Yorkers, you go ahead, come on here, and you prove me wrong that you're tough. I say you're marshmallows. Every one of you is marshmallows. Yes. Like maybe you have a candy shell. Maybe you're like M&M marshmallows. That's right. That's how I feel. I know I'm married to one.
Yeah. And then you have the South.
Yeah, they're their own thing, aren't they? Yep.
And then you have like the mixtures, like some of the.
Well, don't forget, you know what?
And then you have Texas. That Texas twang is very different from like Georgia or Mississippi or Florida twang. You can't really call it twang, I guess. Texas has a twang.
Yeah, Texas has a twang. Well, the South has a
I'm
drawl.
originally from Texas.
The South has a drawl. Texas has a twang.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit different.
A lot of people say Texas drawl as well, but.
And don't forget about Minnesota, don't you know?
Then you got the Midwest. They have their own.
They got a lot of Norwegians,
They have-
and
they
they
have
come
their own
over.
version.
They don't eat the lutefisk too much, but they still got the roots in the Nordics, the Nordic countries, and they're Lutherans. They're all Lutherans,
Oh,
except for the atheists.
Lutheran, Catholic light.
So they got Lutherans and atheists in Minnesota,
Don't you know?
North Dakota, and South Dakota. I'm doing a terrible Midwest
That's
accent.
right, man.
And apparently here in the Northwest we have no accent. We are as boring as paint dry.
We're as boring as wort boiling.
Yes, we're as boring as watching wort boil. Which this is taking a long time to return to the boil. I did not think that LME was that cold.
I know. Maybe we need more heat.
Turn it up, dude.
I know we're getting some escapage, but that's all right. My stirring probably didn't help. I'm trying to release some of the BTUs that were trapped.
Well, it got the heat more evenly distributed, so
Yeah.
it'll get there eventually. So,
It'll
hey,
get
man,
there.
seriously, I can't see anything. I forgot my glasses. It's getting
All right,
dim
so-
in here. So,
We're going to return the kettle to a boil, which I mentioned earlier. Now this is actually called wort now. So, and not just boiling water or warm water. At the 60-minute mark, which is when we'll kick
Green
the timer
tea.
off. Yeah, right. At the 60-minute mark, which is what the timer is set for, we will add the first hop package, which is the Columbus hops. These guys here, and this nice foil, And then
vacuum packed
packed.
for freshness.
And then in 30 minutes, we'll drop the Chinook hops. And at 15 minutes remaining on the boil, that's when we'll add our corn sugar and our dry malt extract. And then
We should look into.
it doesn't say it doesn't give us the time. It says return to heat and add the Zythos or the Simcoe, which in our case we have the Simcoe because our supplier without a Zythos. And I don't know what the difference is. I'm not that educated on hops yet. One day.
Yes.
But apparently Simcoe and Zythos are equivalents in some form or fashion. And then also at the last part it says add the last final ounce of Falconer's light hops when you turn the heat off. So these are gonna be the flavoring hops, which means this beer is gonna be pretty spicy in the hoppy sense. So because they got boilage. I'm gonna turn the heat down a little bit. All right.
You keep talking.
I don't want it to
Look
boil
at
over. And I'm gonna go ahead and get the hops going because we got some boil.
Cool.
All right.
Beercreation.com. That's
Real
right.
slow.
Oh, what? Slow down. Well, let me
I'm
get.
going slow, dude.
I don't care, man. I'm just having memories of. Look, just let me stir. Let me stir. You're scaring the piss out of me, dude. Scaring the piss out of me. Now I gotta go change my pants. How many times have we boiled over this stuff?
Twice.
Yeah, twice. Is that it?
That's it.
Look, it's getting frothy. Oh snap! Here it
It's
goes.
okay.
It's not. Look, it's. I disagree with your assessment of the situation.
Keep stirring.
I'm stirring. I'm stirring this.
Name is down, yo.
That ain't roiling, man. That's not rolling. That's roiling. Dude, we're the most exciting beer brewers ever. Dude, that's still crazy.
I get the timer going. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, you
I know I
need
get
to.
the heat down considerably.
That's still freaking Yellowstone. It's a mud pot going out there.
All right, so in 30 minutes we'll add the next set of hops.
In 30 minutes, I hope we're still here. Blow this whole place up. Just a giant explosion of beer, which, to be honest, would not be a bad way to go. If you think about it.
Die with beer.
Yes.
If you're gonna die with your beer on. Sorry.
What?
Actually, I'm not sorry. Iron Maiden reference. It's not beer, it was boots. If you're gonna die with your boots on.
You know, in another time and place, we could talk about warrior codes of ethics and stuff, and talk about that song would be awesome. Was anybody in Iron Maiden ever in the military?
I don't know. I really don't know.
David Lee Roth was in the Navy. He got kicked out.
Not surprised. You seem like the nonconformist, like, I'm just here to have fun, you know.
Apparently, he was kind of at an admin rate too, like YN or YN or something.
Something.
Not exactly a shooting rate.
All right, I think we're good.
Okay. Scared me, dude. Just because we have a history of sending warts all over the place.
We went full package with full heat on. You know.
You can turn that down even more, dude.
Yeah, that's definitely.
Dude, that's going crazy. What have you done to this beer?
I enchanted it.
It does. I feel like we should be like reading runes or speaking in Elvish or something. Elvish? I mean, what else is there? Witchish? I mean, what's...
Witches.
Wiccan? Wiccanish? Is Wiccan a language?
No, it is not.
Are you sure?
Maybe it's
Celtic. We should be speaking Gaelic. That's it. Gaelic. Chanting Gaelic things.
Like Druidic people and stuff.
I don't know. I gotta admit though, at this point, if we were to do Gaelic, it'd be like kind of the equivalent of those people that get like kanji or katakana tattoos, and it says something like "fresh chicken sold here," and they don't know.
But I think it says like "mom" or "warrior" or something.
Yeah, it's like
fresh chicken sold here.
I'm serious.
That's funny though, man.
I mean, really, because they do. They get those things, and you know those. What are they? Hieroglyphs? Would you call them glyphs?
I don't think so. I mean, it's
what is kanji?
Kanji is Japanese, right? It's kanji.
Right. Well, I know, but there's forms of kanji, right? I mean, well, there's not forms of kanji. There's like at least 2 alphabets in Japan.
Right. I think there's like an older version, and then there's a more modern version.
Katakana or hiragana?
I don't remember. If we have any Japanese viewers,
yes, anybody,
please help us.
Because we are apparently incapable of using the internet ourselves.
Which is what we're using to broadcast this. What is wrong with us?
I don't know. It's because we're monitoring everything on all our devices.
I know.
Wait, there's your phone is the timer. Although it can time and search the internet.
It can time and search.
It's not that important. The point is, we are aware that there are 2 graphic alphabets in Japan, and then there's Romanji. It is Romanji, right? Sure. It's English letters.
I think it is.
Or, now, I guess it wouldn't be English. What would you call it? Aramaic? Because German uses the same letters.
Western,
okay. Anyways, the Western alphabet.
Latin alphabet.
Yeah, Latin alphabet. I guess that would be it. But I know that's part of something in Japan. How did we get on that? What were we talking about?
The cheesy symbols that people get tattooed, and it says "fresh chicken sold here." But
right, fresh chicken sold here.
But they think it means something else, you know.
Yeah.
Which I don't think. I think most of the time when people get that symbol, it's probably what it's supposed to mean. But I've heard some funny stories of it being, but it's not, you know. It actually being something different.
And we went from Mount Vesuvius to nothing.
Yeah,
Lake Placid.
Yeah, I don't want to turn up too much heat, but it's rolling.
Yeah, we're good. All right. So you got your timer started?
Yeah, it's going.
You got it started for an hour, or you got it started for until we need to put the next one in?
No, an hour. I'm just gonna watch it.
Okay.
Watch it like a hawk.
Like a hawk?
We're good.
All right. We're good. I'm glad we're good. Oh.
You're not good.
Dude, that is bad.
I'm a close second.
Are we on the same beers, though?
Yeah.
Like we're still going 1 for 1?
Yeah, we're on the same level.
All right. As long as we're 1 for 1. As long as we're... Oh, that's right. Hey, let's read this.
Wow. You remembered something.
Sorry. Hey, let's get back to this, too. When to add liquid malt extract to brew a better beer. Because we're talking about the fact that we're going to add those with 15 minutes left instead of just adding them all now. Because all of the Northwest brewers, all of their recipes
up front.
They say add all fermentables. And this one has us adding those sugars later in the process. So let's check it out. Okay, if you've ever read John Palmer's book, How to Brew, you'll instantly be confused. Okay? As to when you should use liquid malt extract. This is especially true if you are using a standard extract recipe kit. So when exactly should you add the LME, and does it affect your finished beer that much? There are 2 ways to use...
This isn't LME, though.
I know, but we're just going with the basic concept of adding the sugar. Well,
it might make a difference.
I know, but I'm hoping that we'll...
Why don't you rephrase the search with dry malt extract instead of liquid?
Because then I have to type on the... Okay. Can I finish this one? Please.
Can
I finish it?
Sure.
Is it okay? Okay, I'm going to finish this one. I'm hoping we maybe get some big principles.
Okay.
And then, yeah, we'll do it with dry malt extract. There are two ways to use liquid malt extract, either by adding the entire can to boiling wort before starting the brew day schedule, or by adding the bulk of the LME in the final 15 minutes of the boil. The risk with the former method is a darker beer due to caramelization. The latter may produce a more bitter beer. Interesting. The main issue with this question is that the answer depends on your skills as a brewer and how concerned you are with the quality of your beer. If you want to understand exactly what will change if you alter when you add the extract, then please carry on reading, as I've gone through some key concepts you should know. I think this is going to give us some basic principles. Okay. And that's what I was kind of after, is basic principles.
I got you.
All right. LME is made by mashing malt grains, like the all-grain brewer guys do, in the conventional way, then dehydrating the resulting wort until only about 20% of the liquid remains. This produces a syrupy, sugary extract, which you find in the can in your kit, or in our case, the little jugs. Dry malt extract is made in exactly the same way, except that it goes through an additional phase of dehydration to produce a powder rather than a liquid. Okay?
So conceptually, it's going to be the same.
Yeah, they just basically, so
I didn't know that. That's why I was like, maybe we should actually search it. But I get it now. That's fine.
Well, like I said, I was just going after big concepts.
Semicolons. I look for semicolons.
You do. You are.
As little as details are going to matter to me. You know what I mean?
Software engineer. Weird people. Weird people. Fun to drink beer with, though. I'm a musician. I'm just like big, sweeping. It's okay. And
I like semicolons.
I hate semicolons. I hate them because I've tried to program in the past, and after 6 hours of hunting for a single semicolon, it was horrible. I don't like it. I don't like it. But let's get back to this whole idea of the timing of adding your extracts to your beer if you're an extract brewer. Ooh, good idea. All right.
These guys.
So LME and its dry counterpart, DME, dry malt extract. Could you do that while I keep reading? Are used in extracting brew kits to substitute the extraction of sugars during the conventional mashing phase found in all-grain brewing. So in all-grain brewing, you extract the sugars from the grains yourself. And in extract brewing, which is what we do, although Steve, and I am totally on board with this, by the way, Steve really wants to try all-grain brewing at one point. It requires some more equipment, which we'll get in the future. Right now, we're good with the extract stuff. But the point is, it's a different process, but the ingredients that go into your beer are actually the same. It's just instead of buying them from the store, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
You make them yourself.
Now, one thing to consider with that is with the all-grain method, there's a much higher chance of error.
Oh, that's good for us. Yeah, that's
I know. Maybe we shouldn't do that. meaning temperature.
We can't even add hops without boiling things over.
We might come up with some great beer. Meaning that temperature,
or get hurt.
Temperature is a big deal. If our temperatures are not where they're supposed to be at the right time, it can actually screw up the whole process. And we could have this dumping the malts.
Yeah, so that would be bad.
Maybe we should stick with extract.
For a while. I have faith.
Just until we get better at the chemistry and,
Although we are definitely not. I'll tell you what, just from memory, from that one beer where we drank a little too much before we finished the brew process.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
I mean, how long does all grain take? It's going to be an all-day thing.
All grain, yeah. If we're doing an all grain, we're going to want to start at 9 in the morning.
Yeah, so.
And not even drink. Just start with the mashing.
We can drink coffee, right? Coffee's okay?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay, well, we're good.
But, I mean, we would need to start making our mashable stuff first to make our malts, and then we could probably start drinking beer,
Right. Got you. Okay, so anyways, let's get back to this article, because the idea is, why would you add the malts right away, like our other suppliers' recipes call for? And why would you add them with 15 minutes left in the boil? That is the question that we have here. And thanks to the concept of zooming, I can actually make this text big enough to read. Let's get back here. Using liquid malt extract, LME, for extract brewing. LME and its dry counterpart, DME, dry malt extract, are used in extract brewing kits to substitute the extraction of sugars during the conventional mashing phase found in all-grain brewing. Instead of spending that additional time getting the perfect amount of fermentable sugars out of your malt grains, An extract brewer simply needs to open a can or a bag and pour the contents in. So this means that the correct time to add the LME or DME is when your wort is already boiling and just before you start your brew day schedule by adding your hop spill. Hop spill being all the different hops.
What I do here is set everything up.
Most kits will direct you to first steep your specialty grains, which we did earlier in this broadcast, usually provided in most kits for added flavor. Then boil the newly made wort, then add your LME. However, this isn't always the easiest thing to do when brewing alone. And our other kits, I mean, they did not say boil.
They simplified it more.
They said steep your grains, add your sugars, your extracts, which are basically your sugars, and then bring it to a boil and start. So
maybe their intention was to keep it simple for newer brewers, you know?
I guess. I mean, I think with the exception of the IPA, which you said was drinkable, but you wouldn't pay for it, but we've been doing all right.
He's holding it against me.
You shut up. It's a perfectly fine beer.
You didn't hear me say that.
Dude, you're sitting right next to me.
No, I'm not.
Ow! Ow!
You okay, dude?
I thought you made this studio safe. What the heck? Jeez, yeah. Just injured.
I can't help it. There's a shelf there.
Oh, you know what? It's a good thing this is a family broadcast, or I would be saying things to you. I'm reading this article.
All jokes aside, are you okay though?
Oh yeah.
It looks like I thought you might hit the corner.
Yeah. Oh,
Here,
dude.
I should move your chair up a little bit.
No, I'll be fine. I know it's back there now. Dude, did I ever tell you about that one time when I was freaking in airframes on that carrier? Dude, so we're in airframes, and of course, you know, framers, they think they can build things out of metal, and they do dumb things like leave razor sharp corners on edges.
Ooh, yeah.
It was funny.
Found one, did ya?
Oh, I did, with my head right here.
Oh, damn, dude.
Right? I was over a computer with one of the guys. We're figuring out how to fix a plane or something, and I just bam! I was like, ah! And I sat back down, and I thought I just hit my head. Right? It's like ah! And of course, all the guys are like, "Hey, what? Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah. Just give me a minute. It just hurts. I'm sure I'll be fine." About that time, I felt sticky, warm stuff flowing down my face.
That'll do it.
I looked at him and was like, one of the guys like, "I don't think you're okay, M1." I'm like, "No, I'm not okay. Let's go to medical."
We're going to medical.
So we're just walking through the ship, and people are like looking at me like, "Hurts."
How we
Go to medical. It's like, "Why are you here?" Really?
Does the blood not, is that an indicator? Oh, you got staples? Okay.
And then back to work. Here's some Motrin. Thank you. All right. So where were we?
In case you're curious about what he's talking about, we're former aircraft mechanics. So.
Yeah, we used to fix airplanes for the Navy.
For the U.S.
It was, I almost said it was lots of fun. That would have been a lie. There were fun times.
There were fun moments.
Yeah.
All right, we're at 44 minutes. We're doing well.
So basically, we got this. Tips for using LME better. For me, the biggest issue I used to have when using LME were certainly because I was usually brewing on my own. Biggest issues he used to have. The main issues I used to face when adding LME to boiling wort were it didn't pour well, not being able to empty out all of the LME from the can, and finally, burned or caramelized LME on the bottom of the brew kettle.
I've experienced that.
Right.
Yeah.
We've avoided that pretty well because we always brew together, right? So I'm stirring, well, you're stirring and I'm pouring, and so we avoid that.
Now, I've made that mistake where I burnt the bottom of my brew kettle. In fact, I ended up just tossing that brew kettle.
The whole kettle?
It was bad, yeah.
Wow.
That's where this one came from, because I tossed my old one because I burnt LME on the bottom because I didn't do it right.
Right. All right. Although some recipes and kits will let you run the cans under hot water for a while, I found it much more effective to actually sit the cans in a pan or bucket of boiling water. Okay, do this for about 5 minutes before you need them. Also try to remove the label before it gets wet to avoid tearing off small pieces with your can opener, which could fall into the wort.
Oh, he's talking about the old,
cans.
Truly canned versions of that, yeah.
We have tubs now, but it's the same.
Yeah, it comes out in a jar with a screw top, but yeah. Those old extract kits, yeah, they were actually cans.
Tip number 2. Oh, and we always do this. Extracting every last drop. Hot water helps here as well. Once the LME is warm, it'll be more viscous. Actually, it'll be less viscous because he obviously doesn't know what viscous means.
Right.
It'll be less viscous. For those of you listening, it will be less thick, less sticky. Higher viscosity is thicker and gooier. Lower viscosity is thinner and runnier.
Yeah.
Okay, should pour better. Pour about half to 3/4 of the can and fill it up with boiling water to about halfway. After giving it a good stir with a spoon, you should be able to scoop out every last bit of LME into your wort. Of course, what we did earlier is we just poured the wort, just ladled some of the wort into the can, shook it around, and then dumped it back in there. And today, Steve did not dump hot wort all over my hands.
Learning.
Yay, I feel good about this. Tip 3, avoid burned LME. We already know that one. The big thing is, and this we learned a while ago, take it off the fire. Take it off the fire, put it on the floor, put it on another stand, or turn the fire off. Just get the heat source away from the bottom and then stir the heck out of it.
Excuse me.
All right. Likelihood of the LME caramelizing, burning on the bottom of the pot can depend on the type of brew kettle you have. For full guide of what to look out for, find your next brew kettle, check out my article, yada, yada, yada. So simply add the LME before the boil. Personally, I started with about 5 to 6 batches before I realized I could just add the LME directly to my wort after I steep my specialty grain. So what he's saying right here is what we've done in other kits, not this kit, but in our previous kits. We just added it right after the grain. So before the boil, before anything, we just added it. There was no danger of scorching it because we hadn't even gotten the pot boiling yet. Although the wort is still fairly hot, you shouldn't have the heat on, which will mean the LME won't start to burn. You can therefore add the LME yourself, scraping out every last drop, and start stirring as you add the heat. So he's talking about brewing by himself. So you got a can and a spoon and a pot and a flame, and it's like, I don't have enough hands.
Right.
But basically what he said right there in that thing is like, just pour it in at the beginning. You don't have to wait. Now, let's check this. For most brewers, they will normally be adding their LME as a substitute for making their own fermentable sugars. Okay. Nevertheless, there's a method known as late malt extract addition, which is used by brewers, especially to brew particular beer varieties. In a nutshell, late malt extract addition means the brewer adds 75 to 85% of the extract in the last 15 minutes of the boil. Only about 15 to 25% is added at the beginning. Well, we didn't do that exactly that way. But here's what I'm trying to get at. Why would we do this later? The main reason is, again, to the Maillard reaction. Maillard. Well, there's something to look up. The Maillard reaction.
Maillard reaction. All right.
Okay. In order to produce a lighter color beer and avoid the chemical reaction which happens when you boil sugar with amino acid, the bulk of the extract is added later. Okay, there we go. So there is a reason for adding it later.
A chemical reason, apparently.
I just had to read through this whole website, and Terry didn't tell us, and our recipe doesn't tell us why.
No.
It just says, do it this way.
Do it this way.
All right. So where are we going? So we're avoiding the chemical reaction which happens when you boil sugar with amino acid. The bulk of the extract is added later. And of course, we have acids and amino acids and proteins in here with all the grain stuff. All right. Although the fermentable sugar found in LME is mostly needed during fermentation, it still needs to be sterilized, and this can be safely achieved within 15 minutes at the end of the boiling phase. Okay. And someone has come home because we are absolutely professional. No interruptions, no wives needing keys, no groceries, nothing like that. I'm going to keep reading. All right. As you will have a lower sugar to hops ratio during much of your boil, there will be a big difference in the finished beer compared if you added all the LME from the get-go. Okay, so that he has this under a head look. Drawbacks of the late extract addition method. So adding your extract later as opposed to earlier. You'll have a lower sugar to hops ratio during much of your boil. There will be a big difference in the finished beer compared to if you had added it all from the get-go. Simply put, you will have better efficiency, which is something that we need to look up. Efficiency has a very specific meaning when we're brewing beer. And I'll be honest, I don't know exactly what it means, so I gotta look it up. And maybe I'll talk about that next week. Hey, Next brew time, we're talking about efficiency.
Okay.
All right, good deal. Big difference in the finished beer compared to FPA. All right, so I've said that 4 times now. Simply put, you'll have better efficiency when it comes to extracting alpha acids from your hops, so your beer will be more bitter. This can be great if that's something you like. If it's not your goal, then try reducing your overall hop spill by 20%. What's better, LME or DME? In terms of quality of the beer, I can honestly say that I found no real difference between using liquid malt extract or dry malt extract. Now, this recipe calls for both, and I don't know exactly why. I do know that we have corn sugars coming up, which are different from like extracts from wheats or grains or barleys or things like that. Assuming that the extract you use is still viable, then it comes down to the ease of use. DME, dry malt extract, is far easier to use if you need to weigh it and aren't using the entire packet. However, if you're using the entire packet, then LME is far easier to add to boiling water as it won't clump up. Kind of like if you throw flour in a pot of boiling water, you end up with clumpiness. All right, what can I use instead of malt extract? This is a fair question to ask, but you will be disappointed with the answer. In order to make beer, you gotta have the fermentable sugars that come from malt grains in order to get the flavor and characteristics of beer. If you're not using LME or DME, then you will have to produce your own fermentable sugars by mashing your own grains before boiling your wort and adding hops. Basically the all-grain brew method. So, there ain't no substitute for malt extract, whether it's liquid or dry. But the long answer, and actually this thing did answer my question without having to look up exactly dry malt extract, because that's what we're going to be adding in just a minute here. I should probably check because he got distracted by families coming home. Let's check. What's our next one? The 30-minute mark? You are not Steve. You are shorter and curvier.
Much so. And a little more gimpy.
Well, yeah, kind of busted. I'm going to have to read this recipe.
What are you doing?
Just putting that there. No more cherry coke for the kids. They can have the cherry coke.
Why are you still on the screen? You should be going to the live. Interesting.
I think I've got everything taken care of.
All right, man. This sounds good. There we go. Now we're where it should be. Now it's where it should be. You sit right here. You can sit right here. All right, so I'm gonna have to read this recipe because Steve has been thoroughly distracted. And we are 26 minutes in. Let's see. Add the Chinook hops 30 minutes before the end of the boil. At 15 minutes remaining in the boil, remove the heat, add the dry malt extract and the corn sugar. Return to heat and add the Simcoe hops and the Whirly Flock, which we didn't get. And then add the Falconer's Flight hops at the very end. So in 3 minutes and 52 seconds, we will be adding the Chinook hops. And then 15 minutes after that, we'll be adding all of the sugars and another set of hops. And then 15 minutes after that, we're turning the heat off, and we're going to add the last set of hops. And then we'll be done. We'll probably sign off. go ahead and see if we can find. Are you back?
I'm back.
See, this one I just said went to add extracts. I didn't say dry or liquid.
Okay.
I said
It sounds, it's fine. It sounds like the process is the same, whether it's liquid or dry, which I didn't know if there was going to be a difference or not. It sounds like an extract's an extract, whether it's powdered or liquid.
So next week, well, not next week, but the next time we brew,
Yeah.
we need to pick a beer that we like, and then we need to document because
Right.
I know you say that, but I never do. But we should document it, and then after.
Come say hi.
Millions of people can see you. It'd be great. You'll be famous. Facebook famous. They'll love you.
She's like, not having it.
Yeah, that's how Riley was. She threw a stuffed animal at me. It fell in the beer. Sorry, didn't mean to bring up
It's all right.
a sore subject. Anyhow, hey, where are we at? Is it about time?
We're less than 2 minutes away from the next hop batch.
Spaghetti.
What's up?
Making spaghetti.
Well, I kind of figured that when I saw the sauce. That's why I was asking about that other one, We're having spaghetti for dinner.
Oh, sounds good. Cool.
So, folks, I'm about to put this in there, so I wanted to show you this. The hops out of the packet.
I don't know if they'll be able to see.
Ah,
A little closer. That's pretty good. That's pretty good right there.
One.
Please don't
So-
throw more on it.
If you can see that, it looks like rabbit food. It's just a little pellet, The hop itself is actually like a vine plant, and I guess when they harvest it, they process it, and it comes out like this. So now we're ready for we have a minute actually. But that's what hop pellets look like. You can also use fresh hops. Some people do that. Some of the more advanced brewers use fresh hops. Like they'll grow their own, and they'll go clip the little hop buds and use those hops.
You know, when I bought my beer fridge, I got it free. But when I went over there, I went to pick it up and it was like in town, and I go into town and I pull down an alley. They're like, yeah, come around back, just pull down the alley. I pull down the alley, here was this wild hops vine totally covering these people's fence.
Nice.
It's like, wow, that's so cool. I want one.
All right.
Is it almost time?
It's time. Go ahead and give me a stir.
All right. You should be good at this one, though.
Yeah. I'll also keep it slow. Just, a couple pellets at a time.
It doesn't seem to react quite as violently with the later editions of stuff.
That's it.
But that first one, geez, that's always exciting.
Yeah, that one was a ride. Trying to clean up my mess here.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
So now
I gotta use the head.
no, that's
The
fine.
beer is doing what beer does.
Yes. You only rent beer apparently. So now we're at the stage where we're going to let it go for 15 more minutes, and then we will add the dry malt extract and the corn sugar. We will return it. We'll take it off the heat, put that on, return it back, return it to heat, and then we'll add the Simcoe hops, and then we'll let the boil finish out. And as soon as we take it off the fire, we'll add the Falconers, which will be our flavoring hops, which means this beer is going to be quite bitter. I know I mentioned it before, but I just thought I'd state that again. This is going to be interesting. I hope this comes out better than the last one. And to help ensure this comes out at least the way the recipe was intended, is we'll cool as rapidly as possible using the stir ice bath, since our wort chiller is not quite ready. Again, still not quite ready. I've had this thing for a month now. Better get my act together, huh?
So how we doing?
Oh, we're good. So at 15 minutes, we'll take it off the flame, add our DME and our corn sugar, put it back on the flame, And then we'll add always forget the name of the hops. We'll add
Not the Chinook and not the
no,
Falcon
it's the
Flight.
Simcoe. The Simcoe will go in at the 15-minute mark.
Okay.
And then after the 60-minute, the very last, like not the last minute, but like after the 60 minutes, when we pull it off the fire, we'll put the Falconer's
Flight.
and Falconer's Flight, and that'll be the flavoring hops. So I think we should talk about in a future show hops.
Well, yeah. If I knew anything about them other than the fact that you put them in beer, I would talk more about them.
I know we're off camera, but I'm sure you can still hear me. Yeah, we should talk about hops in a future show and what some of the different kinds are, where they come from. You know,
I keep hearing of the Citroa hops
and
or
what-
Citro hops.
and why different hops. I guess in a way, maybe how the different hops contribute to the flavor of the beer. You know, we can kind of look at that angle as well. Yeah, well, we can look at that. Maybe we can feature that hop and be like, these are your general hops, but today we're talking about this hop. And then
Well, I think
we'll educate you, we'll educate ourselves, and have fun.
that would be worth learning, because right now one of our main difficulties that we have is that we have no control, no knowledgeable control over changing the flavor of the beer.
Right.
Like we could randomly,
We could
Add
mistakenly
some-
change the flavor, but we don't
Yeah.
know. We wouldn't. What
You
we would
know.
like to do is we'd like to take one of these recipes and understand the chemistry of what's going on and say, well, what if let's change the hop to this time and this type of hop, and we would have something predictable. Like we have no idea what would come about it right now if we tried to change something. That's why we're continuing to educate ourselves as best as possible, so that we can alter a recipe to start kind of maybe personalizing it, and then go from there. You know.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's a weakness we have right now. It's like we can
Right.
buy a beer kit, brew a beer kit, but it's just like
Right.
robots could do what we do
Robots
right
can
now.
do it, and they probably do at the macro level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. I imagine they do.
I bet a human just monitors a bunch of gauges. You know what I mean? And the robots and the electronics take care of everything else, like the water and the temperature and the stirring and whatever.
Oh, I would almost
Ingredients.
guarantee it.
Yeah.
Like at your big brewery?
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's all automated at the big level breweries.
You know, but where they're making thousands and thousands of gallons of
Oh,
beer.
even the larger, craft beer style breweries, I bet they have a pretty automated system. You know.
Well, sure. I'm sure they do. I mean,
But nothing can beat a human taste tester. The robot cannot taste test like a human can.
no.
Which, by the way, I did not taste test the ward when I transferred, just so you know.
What? You're supposed to do that.
I know, but that tube I told you was crap. And it's just, I wasn't going to try to deal with that thing. It was super coily, and I wasn't going to try to deal with it spouting and then getting it in there with it all coily, you know what I mean?
I understand.
So I was just like, whatever, I'll take my chances. All right. The good news is all our other equipment is ready to go. I sanitized our primary fermenter earlier today before we started, cleaned up all our other gear. So all we have to do now is just wait for it to finish the boil. Sometimes we'll sanitize while we're doing the boil, which it doesn't really matter.
It just means that one of us sits on camera
Right.
alone for a long time.
But I wanted to get a jump on things before we started actually doing the brew. Plus, it keeps us out of the kitchen while my family's in there trying to do what they need to do. You know, so it does help out. Everybody's happier that way.
Nobody's stepping on each other.
Exactly.
Nobody's bleaching things while making.
Ideally, I would have done it yesterday, but I didn't. So
It's all right. We're good. So now we have to think of something new to talk about.
that's all right. So I don't know when I'm going to get that chest freezer. So here's what we can do, man. We'll keep these two here fermenting. We'll keg them here.
Uh-huh.
And then if we have to, we'll just, if I don't get that chest freezer by the time they're ready to be kegged and carbonated, I'll just take them over to your place where the
Okay.
CO2 is. I mean, I can even carbonate them here, but I just don't have the chest freezer to carbonate them into, you know what I mean? So they won't carbonate as effectively because it won't be cold in the same sense. But either way, I'll talk to my friend and kind of ask him or nudge him like, hey man, what's up? You know?
Yeah, I got you.
In case you're wondering what I'm talking about, a friend of mine offered me a chest freezer. He's moving and doesn't have the space for it, so he said I could have it free, but he wasn't quite ready to give it up yet because they're not out of the house. But that was, it was a couple weeks ago. But I'll ask him about it because that's a big factor in Northwest Brewmeister's process is to have two sites, Jamie's house and my house, so that no matter where we're brewing or where we're working, we have the capability to keg, to carbonate, to store, to brew, whatever. So.
And the big reason for that is every time we try and move gear from here to there or there to here, we forget something. And we spend like the hour before we actually go live driving back and forth between houses getting things that we forgot. It's annoying. We waste a lot of gas. It's frustrating. By the time we get on here, we're all frazzled, and that contributes to our very professional broadcasting experience because we are the most professional broadcast this side of the Columbia River.
We figured that having two sites would be great because we have a backup for whatever reason.
Yeah.
If it's raining, we can come into my garage. If it's beautiful outside, we can brew in Jamie's yard. Where we've done it before. The first few broadcasts were all done at Jamie's. The last two have been here because of weather.
Yeah, we did one at my house in the rain, and mainly the audio was pop, 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 as raindrops fell on the tarp.
The tarp.
Well, it was. We bought a canopy. It was good.
It was it's like the plasticky vinyl type.
Although I sat too close to the edge, I ended up soaked. I was very wet. It was a very soggy broadcast. That was not an enjoyable experience at all.
No, that was all right though. Learning experience for us.
Indeed, learning experience. You folks, as you watch the replays, and if you ever decide to watch this live, which you can do, by the way, you can actually. We are on every other week on Sundays, somewhere between 3 and 4:30. We want
Pacific Standard Time.
Pacific Standard Time. We want to be at 3. We haven't made it yet.
Not yet, but that's all right.
Because we suck.
We'll get there.
We don't suck. We're just life.
Life gets in the way all the time, but
It does. It's rough. Life is rough.
I can't blame the pandemic for that though, because it doesn't really get in our way in this case.
No. We're a COVID pod. Have you heard of these things? COVID pods?
No.
So a COVID pod apparently is a group of people that you've identified that you're willing to hang out with. They're like people that allow you to do social interaction, but you're allowed to be like us, like no masks, hanging out, doing the thing, because they're your COVID pod.
Right.
And with anyone outside your COVID pod, you take all the, like we're only like.
Well, it's like a trusted circle thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like your family would be part of your COVID pod. In fact, it'd be pretty messed up if your family was not part of your COVID pod.
6 feet, daughter, 6 feet.
6 feet, mask on. Yeah, eating dinner. You're eating in that corner. I'm eating in this corner. Your mom's eating over there. Your brother's clear across the room over there. Right. How come you hang out with your buddy at 2 feet with no mask? He's part of my pod. You're not part of my pod.
Wouldn't that be messed up?
That would be totally messed up.
So, no, I know what you're saying. I have not heard of a COVID pod, but it makes sense. Yeah, I understand the idea.
So yeah, that's what I just heard. Is COVID pod. It's this thing.
It's probably applicable to just about everybody.
Yeah.
Except for the most, extreme types that are really concerned.
We really need to work on this monitoring process.
Yeah.
I kind of suck at it.
Well,
most
most streamers and like professional YouTubers, even though we're not really professional, they kind of have a staff that off camera that does a lot of that stuff too.
Yeah, and a lot of them will go right into their computer and they sit really close and they can kind of talk right back and forth. I mean, we've got 2 of us. We're kind of more of a talk show setup type deal, and we're going into a webcam so that it can be over here. Because there's no way we could see comments. Not that we have a lot of comments. I mean, there's "Hey yo" by your daughter, our number 1 fan. There's a lot of different things. Maybe in the future.
Maybe.
And then we do this professional look off to the side, just at the monitor. It's like, hi. We can't see it.
Monitor mode. All right, we're back.
And we're back.
It's all right, man.
It is what it is.
We've already established that we're not true professionals, and we never will be. You know, we're just here to have fun and show you what we're doing.
We might be.
Oh, you're right. We could.
What if someone sponsored us?
That'd be cool.
Like $50,000, like a year, even $50,000 a year, which is not a lot of money. I know, because I know how much money I make, and I can
Probably
tell
the
you.
sponsors, they expect something in return, though, don't they?
Yeah, well, we'd say their name every 5 minutes.
Well,
You
yeah.
ever watch Ben Shapiro?
It'd be advertising. Yeah, it'd be advertising.
You know, so Ben Shapiro is like, hey, we should really talk about your next movie. But first, have you ever considered, you know, and he goes off into the spiel. It's like classic radio advertising,
Right.
where the DJ or the whoever it was
Actually gives.
did
Well,
the.
one of my podcasts I love, the host does that. He actually his sponsors for his podcast. He provides the advertising himself.
Yeah, and you know, maybe they provide you a script, and it's like, please read the script. It's like, okay,
It's possible, but I don't know. The way he talks it, he's very good at making it not sound scripted, or he just shoots off the hip, but he does a good job with it. Or he wrote his own script, you know, because they all sound very similar. But this guy's been podcasting for like at least 12 years that I'm
Why
familiar
am I
with.
yawning? Who's that?
His name is Chris Fisher. He's actually from up in this area, not Whidbey Island, but he's from Washington.
Mhm.
He does a Linux Action Show,
Oh.
or Linux Action News. Excuse me, it changed. Sorry, Chris, if you ever actually watch this. Linux Action News, and then he also has a bunch of Jupiter Broadcasting is his company, and so Jupiter Broadcasting does all kinds of technology, you know, related podcasts. You know, Coder Radio. That's my favorite, is Coder Radio with Michael Dominic. So he's a developer that used to stream in from New Jersey, and then he moved down to Florida. But anyway, they still do the show remotely together, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The other one I listen to a lot is Linux Unplugged. He has a bunch of other shows on his network as well. Anyway, I've noticed, like, now that he's independent again. When I say again, because for a while he's independent and he wasn't working with a company, and now he's independent again. So he has ad sponsors that sponsor his podcasts.
Sure.
And I noticed during X amount of minutes in the show, they'll break into the advertising portion, and he'll talk about one or two of the sponsors, and they'll continue with the show, of course. But it's him doing the ad. It's not like a pre-recorded ad from the company filling in,
Right.
and then going back to the show. No, he does the talk, you know. And then even his co-hosts will chime in, and sometimes they'll make a little dialogue about it, about whoever the sponsor is, you know. So yeah.
Sweet.
Anyway, it's just some anecdotal stuff that I've experienced listening to his podcast. So it makes sense what you're saying, though. You know, if we could, you would be right. If we could get some kind of sponsorship, we could definitely just give them some advertising. That would be the thing.
I can spiel a commercial like you wouldn't you would not believe. My life was horrible before I found Northwest Brew Supply. But then once I started buying my brew supplies from there, my wife loved me more. My children were happier. They got better grades. Every one of us lost weight, and we all became more beautiful in the face. You should buy your brewing supplies from. Oh, is it time?
It is time.
Never mind. I'm gonna let's actually keep brewing beer. But did you see how good that was?
Yeah,
That's pretty amazing, right?
let me stop. It doesn't say to stop it, but I'm going to stop it.
Yeah, I would stop it. All right. Shake this in. Shake it in.
Yeah, I mean, like if a local brew supply wanted to sponsor us, that'd be great. I bet we would need a little more structure in our show, though.
Well, to be honest, we probably would actually need to be at least a quasi-professional.
Right.
Because we are not right now. I mean, how many people, professional shows blatantly admit, it's like, yeah, just off camera, my wife's making spaghetti.
I know, right?
You don't see that on the Joe Rogan show very often.
No. But they have a lot more resources than we do.
It's true. We have no resources.
Everything we do is out of our own pocket.
Yep. With some old technology. It'd be nice to get some new technology. I'm thinking this webcam needs to be replaced. All right. Are we adding? Oops. Get out of there.
Let's get it back up on.
And then a hops packet too, right? One of the hops goes in.
And the DME's clumping.
Okay. I'm just gonna chuck this in though. I don't think we need to worry. I don't think the danger of an explosive boil over is.
Yeah,
we're
we're
in
good.
right now.
Okay, once we get the oil back, I'll resume the time. And the last hot pack will come off at the end. But yeah, certainly wouldn't turn down an opportunity for some sponsorship. You know, and even if we needed to, you know, script the show a little bit. Maybe not script it, but just kind of organize it. You know,
Organizing would be good. That's something we should do anyway.
Yeah.
Because we do kind of tend to run out of things to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, so, yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, we could try to organize it. Break it down into topics or just, you know, whatever.
Don't mind me as I try and grab some meat.
Yeah,
It's cold
it
here.
is cold.
At least we're not in North Dakota.
Yeah, it's probably like covered in ice and snow, huh?
We'd probably be like in much heavier coats than what we are now.
Right.
I was
I'm
looking
not
at
quite sure what the temp is, but it's
a couple weeks ago. It was cold in North Dakota. It was like -5, -10, depending on which town you checked.
right.
Yeah, man, the Midwest gets frosty, dude. But you know what they get that I really miss? They get snow. They don't have 9 months of mud.
I know, right?
I really don't like 9
My
months
backyard
of
is
mud.
such a swamp right now; it's ridiculous. I need to look into a French drain or something because my backyard is sloped, so that water just goes towards the house, and it sits between, you know, about 8 feet away from the house, and then where the slope stops, it just sits there and it becomes a swamp. I'm not happy with that.
Yeah, no, it's my backyard's the same. So I have a whole bunch of acreage that's unusable because it's a freaking swamp all year.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
And here we are, back to the waiting for it to boil phase. It's a nice sludge up on top.
Right? Definitely some hopper rub coming off of that, man.
Smells good. It always smells so good, man. It smells so good.
No, it does.
Holy crap. Steve.
What?
We have 6 subscribers.
6 subscribers?
Yeah.
Hey, thank you.
Whoever you are. Wow. I totally didn't. Well, that scared the hell out
That
of me.
was a little weird, yeah.
Yeah.
A gust came up and moved some styrofoam in my garage and scared us. It's a ghost!
We're all gonna die! Thank you for watching the last episode of Northwest Brewmeisters. It was great never talking to any of you face to face.
All right, we're going to resume the timer because we have.
Oh, yeah, there we go. That's a little bit beyond rolling and closer
We're
to
good.
roiling. Rolling and roiling.
I'm getting it controlled. There we go.
Okay, as long as we don't explode all over your garage.
I know. All right, here we go. No,
That is a lot closer. That is getting awfully close to the top of the pot. I think you don't mind if I stir this, do you?
You can stir it all you want.
I think I'm going to stir this pretty heavily because that is trying to get out of the pot.
Yeah.
Why does this happen to us, man?
Because we have not quite mastered the balance of flame and hops.
Apparently not.
Hops and flame balance, yin and hops.
Yin and hops. What is this?
Do we have sticky stuff? Uh-oh.
Yeah, there's stuff on the bottom, but I'm sure we're okay.
That's fine. There we go.
I mean, you're always going to have a little bit on the bottom.
Yeah, because stuff settles, it's gonna stick.
That's still too violent, dude.
Bring her down. Bring her down.
I would turn it way down. I was definitely okay.
See, we did not boil over, so we achieved.
We gotta count that as a plus. That's improvement. We have improved. It was trying though. If we hadn't done something, it would have gone. Did you start your timer again?
Yeah, when it first started boiling. So okay. I was trying to find that perfect
Sweet spot.
Sweet spot so we get the nice rolling boil. So I can't make his mind up. There you go.
So, in continuing with our incredible level of professionalism, we don't have anything ready to rack. But in the future, we're going to find other beer brewing steps that we can do while we're just watching this boil, because this can be very boring.
I could have saved that other one to rack, but the problem is, I did rack a beer by myself earlier today, but that was so I could free up the primary fermenter.
Because all of our secondaries they say 6 gallons, but they are not 6 gallons.
They lie.
They lie. And we had one beer go, just all the trub and whatever. What is the foamy stuff that the yeast produces? Does it have a name?
I don't know.
Foamy stuff that the yeast produces. So when the yeast is fermenting and it's boiling and stuff like that, just from carbonation process and the yeast doing its thing, you get this big foamy thing. Well, we put a beer into a quote unquote 6 gallon.
It was labeled 6 gallon, but we think it's lying.
We think it's lying because that stuff went right out the top, out the water lock.
Right.
Still not 100% sure how that beer is going to turn out, but hey, there's
I don't know. That's the Rockford 8.
Yeah, but there's nothing we can do about it. So I monitored it, and once it kind of calmed down, I took it off, I cleaned it off, and put a new water lock on, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, the reason I went ahead and racked it instead of doing it on the camera was the primary fermenter that I cleared out had a lot of cleaning that needed to be cleaned, and it would have taken a long time to clean it afterwards, and we would have been it would have prolonged the brewing process quite late. And we both, you don't have to work tomorrow, but I have to work tomorrow, and my children have school in the morning, so you get the point.
My kids don't.
Now, however, in the future we will have beers that can be racked, and we and have a primary fermenter ready for the boil, so we don't have to worry about a time thing.
So what we're saying in a nutshell is basically there will be more interesting things to do. Dude, your garage is possessed.
Yes, it's possessed.
There will be more interesting things to show onto the camera as we go along. We should also get a different camera, like more than one camera. It'd be cool. And then you press a button, right, on your thing, and it switches to a different camera. And then you press another button, and it switches to a different camera. And then lighting and special effects and green screen and an awesome soundtrack written by Hans Zimmer or John Williams, preferably John Williams.
John who? Zim?
John Williams.
It's not like you were combining Williams and
John Zimmerman's.
Zillions. Right?
He's pretty much everything that Hans Zimmer is and everything that John Williams is. He hasn't been made yet because he's a synthetic archetype. And yeah.
That'd be cool.
Pretty much, I would pretty much just go worship at his feet, to be honest. I'm a huge John Williams and Hans Zimmer fan. I think they're both amazing. I like movie music. I'm a film score guy. I like film scores. I would love to do that for a living. That would be sweet. Write music during the day, brew beer at night. Oh, heck yeah.
Right.
I don't know if life could get better.
Reminiscences.
Okay. That's his way of telling me that I'm behind.
You are behind. I need to use. But once again, the beer has done what beer does.
He's broken the seal.
You be quiet.
I have not.
Be quiet.
We're still 1 for 1. Well, almost. Yeah, maybe we can do a camera kind of over the boil. I don't know. If you guys are seeing this, you can tell us what you think. I think that'd be a good idea. kind of see ingredients as they're going in. You know, maybe that'd be an interesting way to show some new angles. But we definitely want feedback. Negative, even if it's negative, let us know. You know, if we're being too goofy, let us know. If you want to hear certain things, you want to learn some stuff, or if you think there's things we should cover that we're not doing, by all means, let us know. Can't guarantee that we'll be able to do everything everybody wants, but maybe we can find a good medium, happy medium, and try to give, provide the information that people are looking for, or the fun, you know. Hell, you can even give us recommendations on types of beer to make.
Did you just say hell?
I did.
Family broadcast, dude.
Hey, you'll hear hell in a PG movie.
True. But what if they want to?
You may even hear it in a G movie. I don't know.
No, well.
But then again, I'm basing it off an American rating system because we know. I know other countries have their own movie rating systems, so.
What if they want to teach their 6-year-old how to brew beer? Did you think about this?
Teach their 6-year-old how to brew beer.
I don't see why this is a problem.
Oh, okay. That's funny.
They're like, we would have taught you how to brew beer, sweetie, but those guys on Northwest Brewmeisters, they're so foul-mouthed, so I guess you don't get to learn until you're 13.
It's like from Long Island now.
Long Island.
What are you doing?
Oh, we better finish this brew quick, because obviously we've had a few beers.
Oh, we got plenty more to go. It's early, man.
Don't worry. I will hang with you.
The night is not over. Yes, I do work tomorrow, but I work in the evenings. Huh?
And I don't work at all.
Yes, I got to get up with my children. That's fine. It's worth it to get them to school, and then I can always just take a nap afterwards. We have just under 6 minutes left on the boil.
Okay.
One hop pack remaining. This is our Falconer Flight U.S. hop. The reason I specify is there are a lot of hops, great hops that come from other parts of the world, literally, other parts of the world. Not all the hops come from the United States, of course. I mean, shit, beer was not invented in the United States. We know this.
No, you said shit.
Did I?
You did.
Oh.
You just said it.
That must mean the few beers I've had is kicking in. Sorry, folks, if my language is being, not family friendly. But then again, PG movie, you can get away with an S-bomb.
Okay, PG.
In the American system, you can get away with one F-bomb in a PG-13 movie, but it cannot actually relate to a sexual act. It has to be like just using it as some kind of weird adjective, not actually related to a sexual act. I know you probably don't care, but I think it's kind of funny that that's actually documented in the PG-13's rating in the American system.
Did you just judge them? You judged our audience. You said you don't think they care.
Well, that I'm rambling about the United States movie rating system. They probably don't give a shit.
Again!
I mean, they don't care.
So look, here's the deal. Watch the beginning of our show, and about the hour mark, so maybe you might think about jumping on. If you're trying to teach your 6-year-old how to brew beer,
We can go back, at least on the recorded version, and bleep out my little S-bomb slips.
No,
It'd be kind of funny though. I don't really mean to do that, but the idea is funny. I think.
The idea is hilarious. Kind of feeling like we're the Man Show, but without Jimmy Kimmel or Adam Carolla. But boy, did those guys go different ways.
I have no clue, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
So Jimmy Kimmel, what did he take over? Did he take over the Tonight Show after?
Was it Tonight Show? After Jay Leno? I think he did.
Right. So
who took over after? Who took over the Late Show after? Who was the guy that was after Leno? He hasn't been so long. I forgot his name, man.
I don't know. I don't watch TV. I don't have TV.
I don't either. I don't watch TV either.
Neither of us have TV. We're so out of the loop. How
I
can
mean,
we
I own a
possibly-
television. My wife and children watch television, but I don't watch television. Oh, what was his name, man?
Yeah, my TV is basically a giant video game monitor. That's all it does. We do Netflix every so often.
I can't believe I can't remember the guy's name. He was on after.
Well, there was Conan O'Brien, but he never. No, he has always done his own thing.
Now, this was the guy that was immediately after Leno. I mean, even back when Johnny Carson was, before Leno was Carson. And
Well, there's
Letterman,
one-
David Letterman. That's what I was trying to think of.
No, David Letterman has always been Letterman.
But there was the Late Show with David Letterman, though.
Right. Well, but what are you saying? Who took over the spot,
Yeah.
or who had their own show after?
No.
After the
Who
Tonight
took-
Show.
David Letterman retired. So I'm trying to figure out who took over Letterman's show. Late night. It was Late Night with David Letterman.
I know.
Tonight Show was Leno, and then it was Late Night with David Letterman.
Right.
And then like Conan had his show,
Right.
and Leno's gone or retired. I think that's
Man.
either Kimmel, and then someone took David Letterman's spot. I can't remember who it is though.
I can see his mind. I can see his face.
He is
But I don't have any devices left to look things up on because I'm monitoring with everything I got.
It's fine. We'll figure it out some other time.
He's famous right now. He's still going. He's what's his name? He does a lot of music stuff.
We have less than 2 minutes, just so you know.
Okay. Probably shouldn't burn too many brain cells on this.
We're
Why were we
really-
talking about the Late Show in the first place?
Because you mentioned Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel. Oh,
The
and
Man- the
Adam
Man Show.
Carolla.
And they said they.
Oh yeah, no, it's not. So apparently, they were never super close friends. You know who else were never super close friends that people wouldn't know? Penn and Teller.
Really?
Purely professional relationship.
I thought they were college buddies because I watched a documentary about them.
No, I could have swore I read something where Teller actually spoke because
Yeah,
Teller
I've
never
actually
speaks.
seen him speak on.
Right,
Oh,
but
he's
I
nice.
heard it was mainly a professional relationship. It was not.
Oh no, I mean yeah, that's cool and all. I mean I don't think they
Maybe
lived
I'm
together
wrong.
or anything. But I thought, well, maybe they met in college or something, and then
Yeah.
they figured out they would do the show, and then but yeah, maybe they weren't really buddies after the show.
Anyways, Adam Carolla, who has done a lot of things. He's really big in certain circles, but not so much in the big mainstream media thing. Anyhow, he's a fairly conservative guy. Like, not fairly, very conservative. He teamed up with Dennis Prager on PragerU to do this movie called No Safe Spaces, which I kind of want to watch. And yeah, he's not liberal at all. And then Jimmy Kimmel, just man, you can't go much further left than Jimmy Kimmel. I
That's
mean,
pretty left.
oh yeah, hardcore
Well,
left.
He's an SNL guy, so isn't he? Or was?
No, he was never SNL.
He wasn't.
Their thing was the Man Show. That's where they both kind of showed up
Are you
first.
cold?
Yeah, a little bit. Shut up. I'll just scoot closer to this boiling pot of beer wort. All right, stir.
Kill this flame. Because we are done.
And that's it, right?
Yeah, we just need to get it chilled now.
All right. Well, hey, wait, sit back down. 'Cause that's it, man.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. So hey,
I'm gonna take turn.
So we just noticed today that our YouTube channel has 6 subscribers. Woo! That's kind of cool. We had no idea. Maybe we should monitor our YouTube channel more. So any of you watching on the replay, cool. If you made it this far, you are an impressive human being. Through all the rambling and the boredom and the single person and the going to deliver keys to the wife and helping other wives bring in groceries. I mean, other wives, it's like his wife, not like, we're not Mormon. Let's just say that. No offense to the Mormons,
We're not polygamous.
but just let's be honest. Your religion has a history in the United States of more than one wife. That's just the way it is. In any case, well, Mormons wouldn't be watching this anyways.
Probably not.
Not hardcore Mormons because they don't do beer or caffeine. And they don't do beer or coffee.
Right,
I could
yeah,
never
let's
be
chill.
Mormon. Okay, we got to do something. So, anyways, thank you for showing up. If you do, thank you for watching. Hey, we'll be back in 2 weeks, and we're going to be doing another batch. We have no idea what we're going to brew. we're going to talk about something completely different. I think we're going to talk about hops is what we're going to hopefully talk about. Well, we'll talk about something. We'll be looking up articles and we'll be reading them, and we'll learn together about the world of brewing beer. We're having a great time. Hope you're having a good time. And hey, like we always say, relax.
Have a home brew. All right, let's get this chilled.
All right, let me log out here and broadcast.